Greetings, everybody. It is I, the Nomad, coming to you live from the wastelands of the internet. Welcome for the news as I elucidate what the events have been for the past week that really matter to me. Whether it matters to somebody else, don't really care. All right. But I do, I do appreciate everybody coming in and telling me what they think as well, because, quite frankly, I'm just I did a bitty channel trying to make its way in a big YouTube world. Actually, not. I'm just trying to express myself as to what I think is going on. And I don't know what's going on with Cat Girl. And yes, at the moment, it is just you and I. If other people show up, they'll that'll be good. Then again, like I said, I am starting early, right? Mainly because there's a lot to go through, and I got stuff to comment on. So let's get started, shall we? First of all, on the Ukrainian front, what do you see? I see some conflict here. All right, some little blue things here. The Orikhiv axis clashed yesterday. All right, which I think this is probably going to say the same thing. Uh, I don't know. It appears that it involved a popsicle, let's say. What you see is still very much a heavy fighting along those lines. All right. Um, but it's all red. Why is that important? Well, because, quite frankly, it means the Russian offensive is still there in place. The Russians are on the offensive. These things, all right, um, missile strikes, things like that, they're not decisive. If missile strikes were decisive, all right, Israel wouldn't exist, for example. So for the Ukrainians, at some point they've got to change from the defense into the offense. All right. Now, what does that mean? Okay, can you win a defensive war by being on the defensive? All right. A lot of people will tell you, no, you can't do that. You can. Okay. But there are circumstances that are necessary in order for you to do it. And the circumstances are if you're in a defensive war and the enemy is not trying to conquer you. Okay? You can win a defensive war if the enemy is not trying to conquer you. If they're not trying to take away your territory. You can defend a defensive war. This is what a lot of people don't understand. They said something like accurate within 500 meters, and I thought that's not accurate enough unless you're talking something with a huge blast radius like a nuke. Actually, there's a lot of different things that you can say with that. It depends on what you're trying to hit. It depends on what you're trying to do. But I agree with you overall, James. It doesn't matter. Let's the defensive war. Yeah, regarding missiles and rockets. If you can blanket an area, all right, with enough missiles and rockets, all right, within 500 meters, and they're landing within 500 meters, you basically can take it completely out. Okay. It's a very simple thing, just like cluster munitions. It's like you're using cluster bombs. It's like you're using a B-52 for bombing raids, like we did back in World War II. It only something that only takes one to hit and take out something. Okay, sure. All right, if you're just sending one over at a time, but if you're sending thousands over at a time, you can devastate what your target was. If your target is a munitions factory, if your target is a ball bearing plant, for example, you can take it out. If your target is a bridge, sure, one bomb may not work. 500 probably will. All right, all at once. Mortars and artillery are more accurate. Yeah. All right. Not as effective though in certain circumstances. All right. It depends on what you're trying to do. Like I said, it really depends on the circumstances and availability. A lot of things involved. But as far as missiles being decisive, like I was saying, the way they're being utilized here, they're not going to be. Now they're sent in more than just one or two. They're coming in waves. All right. But they're not being decisive. Now, as far as the combat goes, let's be perfectly frank here. When one side's on the offensive and the other side is playing defense in a territorial dispute, which is what this basically is, all right? Russia is saying all of this is part of Muslim Russia, and the Ukrainians are like, no, it's not. We're Ukrainians. You're not in the kind of defensive war. You're in a territorial war, and you've got to be able to defend your territory. And quite frankly, you cannot push the Russians out, even with the help that you've received at this point from the Allies. They have not received any kind of decisive military aid to have them push the Russians out. And they're and at this point in time, I don't see them doing that. I don't see them getting that aid. It doesn't matter if who the president is or what the election outcome is. Really, yeah. Well, massive amounts of anything can be effective, but it's not decisive. Actually, it can be depending upon what you're trying to do, because massive numbers of troops can be very decisive in a campaign, especially in a war of attrition when you have more than the enemy does, and that's what you have. Think of the American Civil War, folks, and I'm not trying to compare the relative merits of the war or the relative merits of the sides. I'm talking about strictly from a military perspective. What you have is you have something like the South being represented by the Ukrainians. They just don't have the resources, man, material, whatever. They've got to get it all from overseas, all from other elements. Okay, and they're fighting against the Russians, who represent the North or the Union, that says, no, 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 you're a breakaway republic. You will be brought back into the fold. Sniper's bullet is decisive. Um, a sniper's bullet can be decisive in the event that you're dealing with a single commander. All right, and when you're talking about whether people want to believe this or not, let's say that Putin goes in front of national television and says, "We will continue the," and dies of a heart attack right in front of the Russian people, and is dead. If you believe that the war is then over, good luck to you all. Okay, it's like I'm going shopping and throwing 80% of my food on a parking lot. It's still stupid. Uh, I hate to say it. I agree with you. Right. Well, I don't hate to say that I agree with you because I do, but at the same time, this ain't our fight. Okay, and so whether or not it's important, whether or not it's stupid or not, is not something for us to judge. It's for the Russian people to judge and the Ukrainian people to judge. And quite frankly, okay, our opinions don't matter. All right, they don't. I've said this many times, and I'm going to say it again. The problem with the Ukrainians in the Ukrainian area is, like it or not, in order for you to be a nation state, you have to have defensible borders. The Ukraine does not have defensible borders. It doesn't. Not with the Russians. This is turning into a meat grinder. The one who has the most men was going to win. That's the reality. Now, they could stop fighting for a little bit, but I really think that it won't make any difference. Oh, I figured out that that in November 2020, all right, when the election was fortified. Yeah. Let's get on to the next news, shall we? Middle East latest from the AP. A Hamas official was killed in an Israeli airstrike on a refugee camp. Well, first of all, this doesn't look like a refugee camp to me. An Israeli airstrike on a refugee camp in northern Lebanon killed Hamas official Saeed Atala Ali and his family, the militant group said on Saturday. The early morning strike came a day after another Israeli airstrike cut off a main highway linking Lebanon with Syria, leaving two huge craters on either side of the road. My opinion doesn't matter. My vote doesn't matter. But by God, skip filling out some of those damn forms and see what see what form of government official shows up to collect. You're not wrong. Israel began a ground incursion Tuesday into Lebanon against Hezbollah militant the Hezbollah militant group. I'm trying to have a bad time reading here. The Israeli military said 9 soldiers have died in the conflict in southern Lebanon. Israel and Hezbollah have traded fire across the Lebanon border almost daily since the day after Hamas was cross-border attack on October 7th, 2023, which killed 1,200 Israelis and took 250 others hostage. Israel declared war on Hamas militant group in Gaza Strip in response. Then why did Hezbollah open fire? Okay, just putting it out there. As the Israeli-Hamas war reaches its one-year mark, more than 41,000 Palestinians have been killed in the territory. Just over half the dead have been women and children, according to local health officials. Really? Which local health officials? And just because they're women, does that mean they're not Hamas? Did you see the tunnels? Nearly 12,000 people have been killed in Lebanon in the latest conflict, most of them since September 23rd, according to the Lebanese health ministry. In addition to that, we have this story today from the Wall Street Journal. How the massacre of Israeli female soldiers came to symbolize the October 7th failures. I was impressed. Cinder block tunnels chock full of supplies. Yeah, no, the tunnels are something else. Nahal Oz base, Israel. It was about 6:30 a.m. on October 7th when dozens of heavily armed men burst into view on Maya Desnik's video screen. The Israeli soldier charged with monitoring a stretch of the Gaza frontier picked up the radio at her side and raised the alarm. "There is a Turkish night," she said, using the Israeli military code word for an incursion into Israeli territory. Palestinian militants were breaching the border. Now, for months, Desnik, 20 years old, and her colleagues in an observer unit, all of them young women, had warned their superiors repeatedly and with increasing vehemence that the Islamist militant group Hamas seemed to be preparing for an attack. Their concerns were dismissed. Yeah, they were. Um, and these women, all right, which was an all woman unit. This is something most people don't understand when they talk about the women that serve in the Israeli military. They do, right? But they serve in female units. They don't serve in male units. They talk constantly about how well the women are fighting alongside the men. Not exactly. Okay, not exactly. Now you have an intelligence failure that everyone keeps talking about. That these women saw these guys coming, had been saying that these things are going to happen. All right. And so I wanted to comment on intelligence failures. What are intelligence failures? Okay. Why didn't people realize, okay, what Hamas had planned? Okay. The biggest reason people didn't believe what Hamas had planned wasn't that they didn't believe Hamas wasn't going to attack something. They believed there's going to be small little attacks. They believed that Hamas would attack, just not so with so much force, not so broadly, not over the kind of scale that it did it in. That's the difference. Okay. Now they had been warning them. Okay, what are we going to do about this? Well, okay, Hamas in this case actually attacked a quote unquote military outpost, but it was a military outpost where these women, these 40 women or 50 women they were talking about, right, were basically unarmed. They were basically running around without any weapons because it was just an observation post. No, it was a large observation post, right? Now they started frantically calling for help, and none came. Of course, none came. No, man, what are you saying? They just left these women. Guess what? Hey, I'm going to be real blunt with people. Okay? When you're dealing with the military, okay, when you're dealing with these kind of, when you're dealing with a war situation, who you are, what you are, right, is not something that, hello, how are you?
Hello.
Welcome.
Me. Thank you.
It's been a while.
Sorry, I didn't realize. Yeah, I didn't realize you was on. I just noticed. So, hello. Hello, everyone.
Welcome, Monsieur Jensen. I'll even put your icon.
Also known as Oi and Im.
Oi and M. And
Yes.
there are stories that you and I are going to have to discuss today. We haven't got to them yet either.
Oh God.
Okay, so
Okay, just want to check. Is one of these questions the stroke of genius about my illustrious leader handing over lumps of our empire to other people yet?
No. Actually not. If you want to discuss that, though, we can discuss that as well.
I may, and there will not be polite words when I do.
We'll get to that point when we're talking about some of this stuff.
Okay,
All right, but no, no,
fine.
no, 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 no,
Apologies.
that is not the
Please
case.
carry on.
Well,
Okay.
now that you're here, you realize I'm going to have to actually activate some things, and this is not as an easy a thing for me as it used to be at the moment. for
Yes.
for different reasons than most people realize.
Yes.
Because my right hand does not work the best at the moment.
You're suffering from alien hand syndrome. Just admit it. It's all that time you spent in Area 51. I mean, what? I understood nothing.
Shh. Shh. Right. But I was talking about the 50 the story about the observation post that was overrun while the women were calling for help because it was an observation post basically manned by women. All right. And
Ah.
it's
Mhm.
now the thing is, like I was trying to tell people, people think that the Israeli women are the Israeli women soldiers serve alongside men.
Mhm.
They do in the sense that they are on the front lines, but the units that they serve in are all women. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
Okay, they do not have integrated units. They do not have an infantry battalion with men and women integrated in the same unit.
Yes. And that's a good thing.
It's a very good thing because they've learned. All right.
Yeah.
Um, but this woman outpost, it was an outpost, right? They saw these guys coming. They started screaming on the radio that these guys, the militants, were coming, and screaming for help, and no help came. Now, Jensen, why do
That's
you think no help came?
well, the logical answer would be they didn't have the help to send. B, they were offered as a sacrifice for the militants to attack, giving the military the chance to actually move in and either defend or entrap them. I can think of several reasons. Which one are you going with?
I think the main reason is because if you remember right, the Hamas attacked on multiple wide fronts.
Yeah.
So this
Yes.
was a widespread attack, and they were picking and choosing which areas to defend the most. And
Yeah.
an observation outpost, is frankly expendable.
Oh, yeah. Sorry to
Oh,
say.
all right. I, I don't want to be the Debbie Downer here, folks. But when you're on an observation post, if a widespread balloon comes up, you're a tripwire. Okay.
Yes. Yes. Tail end Charlie would be a good term from World War Two.
I don't. It's not good that 50 women died. All right.
No.
I understand that, but at least these were, and I shouldn't use this term, but at least they were soldiers. Now, the
Yeah.
fact that
I
they weren't
do.
armed is a problem.
Yes.
But
That was my next question. Mhm.
all right, the fact that they weren't
Yes.
properly armed is an issue. The fact that a bunch of
Yeah.
them were captured as hostages and then killed and raped later was an issue
Yeah.
because that is what happened to them.
Yeah. Of course it is.
Okay, but
The second you said all women, it was not exactly rocket science to work out the bad things that were about to occur.
right now, I will say, I mean, James mentioned the pagers. They should take about 3 billion pages and give them to Iran. All right. Um. Okay. I'm going to make a point of something because there's a lot of people. You've talked to the conspiracy theorists, right? Who
No, I would never speak to those people. Yeah, go
the
on.
the ones that believe that everything is being run by Israel. The world and everything happens in Israel because of Israel.
Yeah, yeah, those ones are great.
Well, okay. The problem with dealing with and discussing issues with these people I almost called them loons.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're loons in a way, all right, but they're not totally wrong in certain things. But I was
Yeah.
arguing with one guy who said that if the United States would just end all support for Israel, right, the area would have peace. And I was like, you're out of your flipping mind. Right?
Okay, I'd like to give an opinion here, if it's all right with you.
Please.
If Israel ceased to exist, as in literally completely and utterly erased from existence, God himself put his finger down and squished them, the Palestinians would find someone else to pick a fight with. It's not a case of once the Israelis are dealt with, all becomes light and unicorns and bunnies and all that. No, I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. The Palestinians will pick they'll pick a fight with themselves if they've got no one else to play with.
Yes. That is very true.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is if the United States pulled all its support from Israel, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, would the other Arab nations possibly attack to erase Israel at that point? Possibly. All right.
Yes.
But at the same time, Israel has plenty of other support from various other nations. It doesn't actually need the US's support to dealing with Hamas or dealing with Hezbollah. Does that make sense to anybody?
Very true. Oh no, that is true.
All right. 15th century acting barbarians totally get along with Christians and Jews.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's right. No.
No, this is I just it boggles the mind talking to these guys. I was like, you guys don't understand that Israel has plenty of other support from a lot of these other countries. They tend to verbally attack Israel constantly and give lip service to, oh no, we are in support of the Palestinians, right? But the
Yeah.
reality is they pay Israel and they pay Israel's intelligence service Mossad to handle dirty work that they themselves don't want to deal with.
Oh yeah.
All right, I want to be real blunt here. There's plenty of Western, quote unquote, Western European nations, Germany, Italy, Spain, all right, that have been more than willing to use Mossad agents, all right, in deals to get rid of radical elements within their own country. France. All right? Just pointing it out there.
Mhm.
The
Well, you
idea.
probably know this, but
Go ahead.
sorry, mate, but you probably know this already, but I would say it anyway. During the 70s and early 80s, did you know that the British government actually used to train Mossad in urban combat in Northern Ireland?
Oh, that doesn't
We'd
surprise me.
literally get. Yeah, no, that's not a lot of people actually know that, but yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. The thing is,
Mhm.
like I said, it's Israel's tentacles. All right, in a sense, okay, exist, but not in the sense of direction. That makes sense.
Mm.
Israel's
Oh
not
yeah,
directing the world. Okay.
no. I'll be honest with you, okay?
Hmm.
I wouldn't want to be directing. Well, in a situation like this, I would much prefer to be the power behind the throne. I'm the guy that whispers in the king's ear. I am Jafar. I am happy with that job. If you know, you know.
All right, let me ask you a question,
Go for
which
it.
has nothing to do with what we were just talking about. But it is a question because I am kind of curious.
Mhm. Go for it, man.
Let's say yesterday you won what we consider the multi-billion-dollar Powerball lottery, and you got $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do? Not where would you go but what would you do?
Recover in about 6 weeks. But once I've recovered, that part does apply. Trust me on this one. Then, to be honest, this is going to be really sounding boring, but I'd actually be probably giving a lot of it away to the people I know. Honestly, I would take care of other people because that is just how my brain works. I would look after myself first, yes.
Yeah,
So
but
let's
well,
say it's
I'm not worried about what giving your money away or anything like that. Just what would you be doing?
okay.
Let's say on an average day, what would you be doing? What would you do with yourself? Is what I'm asking.
Mm. Weirdly, not actually that much would change with me. Amusingly, I don't look at. I'm sorry to say, it's just probably not the answer you wanted,
Oh
which
no, no, this
is
is
going to be quite.
perfectly the answer I want.
Ah, okay. I actually wouldn't do that much to change myself. I would upgrade my tech. Um, um, yeah, I think I pretty much covered it. Literally, that is it. I would be doing exactly what I'm doing right now. If I was a multi millionaire, I would still be sitting here nattering to you lot. Okay, granted, I'd have one hand on a big pile of money and a smile on my face, but nonetheless, I'd still basically be doing the same thing.
My
Not that
armory would
much would
grow
actually change.
exponentially.
Mhm.
Yeah, mine will too. Actually, I've got to later this month. I've actually got to buy a weapon. I need to buy a nice shotgun, but that's my plans, right?
Yeah.
Uh, Before somebody
Yeah,
says,
I'm
"Well,
just
you
going
need
to
to buy
remind
one of
you all.
these or you need to buy one of that." Look, dude, I have enough firearms as it is. Okay, I just need a replacement for my shotgun. Okay, it is
I
what it
live in
is.
England. I don't have any guns at all. I definitely don't have a Beretta 92F sitting within about 10 foot of me. I
No,
don't. I don't do that. Not at all. Okay.
no, 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 no. We know you a good boy.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, I was just curious. Like I said, I didn't have anything
Hmm.
like that. So we're done with that story. We'll go on to the next one. Right? You ready?
Okay. Oh yeah.
Worrying satellite image shows Antarctica is turning green at a dramatic rate. Green islands in the Antarctic Peninsula, despite its name, is greener than expected. Antarctic Peninsula is warming faster than the global average, with extreme heat events happening more often, meaning the amount of vegetation there has ballooned. Researchers from universities of Exeter and Hertfordshire and the British Antarctic Survey use satellite data to assess how much the Antarctic Peninsula has been greening in response to climate change. They found the amount of vegetation cover is more than 10 times larger than 4 decades ago, exploding from less than 1 square kilometer to almost 12 square kilometers in 2021. Oh, the horror! All right, 1 square kilometer, all right,
Hmm.
is 600 yards by 600 yards. Okay? 12 square kilometers is about, oh, I don't know, 2 kilometer by 2 kilometers, right?
Yeah.
Thereabouts, or 3 kilometers by 3 kilometers. Yeah, about 3 kilometers by 3 kilometers.
Pathetic, isn't it? Yeah. And here's, if I, if I may, here's the thing with this. All right. The people are going, "Oh my god, that means that the ground is basically the snow is melting and the greenery is growing." Oh wow, that's horrific. It's not like greenery is used to combat CO2. This is literally the Earth's way of dealing with CO2. But no, that's terrible. You can't be thinking of it as a good thing because it's not making money for someone else.
It's as
That's
if
the.
Antarctica
I'm
has
sorry.
been green in
I
the
shouldn't.
past.
Mm. Oh yeah, no, definitely not. No way. There is no way that there is any large amount of greenery under Antarctica and the Arctic, to be completely fair, that we definitely don't know about. Not at all. No, stop looking. Stop asking questions.
All right. I would also postulate that this is also a possibility of. Now, first of all, for those who don't know this, I am not a skeptic when it comes to quote unquote climate change. I am a skeptic about man-made climate change. Okay.
Yes.
And what I mean by that isn't that I don't believe mankind has an effect on the climate. I think we do.
Mm-hmm.
But first, there's two things with it. Number one, the climate isn't static.
No.
Never has been, never will be. Okay. And
Mm-hmm.
number two, the amount of change, all right, is not necessarily totally attributable to mankind. And I don't think that we have control over it. This
No.
whole idea of, oh, we got to go to electric cars and we got to go to all this electric stuff. Let's be perfectly. Hey, look, I'm all for that. Believe it or not, I'm all for electric cars and having an entire electric grid.
Hmm.
Okay, I really am.
I'm not, but okay.
Well, because I'm not afraid of nuclear power.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's fair.
all right. I want nuclear power to be running the world. The problem with that, of
Nuclear
course,
powered
is that
microwave.
see
Sorry.
the problem with that is that these people who are pushing the man-made climate change things, it's
Mm-hmm.
not they're not pushing it for the same reason because they want to stop everything, right?
No.
They want to push it, okay, because they want control of the people. Nothing they've ever
Like I said,
proposed ever really is ever intended actually to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide going in
that's right.
the atmosphere. Can I have a Mr. Fusion in my DeLorean?
I agree.
Okay, I want people to understand this. If I get a hold of a Mr. Fusion and DeLorean, good luck to you all. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Good luck to you all. Fear me. Okay?
Are you trying to say that you'd go back and you'd shoot a monkey in a tree?
No. I'd go back to the
No.
Aztecs and I'd say, here's modern weaponry. Okay. All right?
Hmm.
Just putting it out there.
I'm gonna have to tell you what I did to the Aztec Empire in a role-playing game one day.
Okay? I'm just putting it out there, right? Can you imagine the
Mm-hmm.
Aztecs when Coronado arrives, when they arrive and he sees them with, oh, I don't know, M16s? This could be an issue.
Though, to be honest, we have actually had a discussion about this, and I wouldn't give them guns.
Oh, no, you
You're
need.
thinking, what? I'd give them medicine,
Yes, that's another thing you can give them.
and I'd give them radios.
Radios are a really important thing, actually.
Oh, I know. Screw guns. I mean, this is
What do
me.
you mean?
Okay, I
I'll
would
be
say
messing
guns
around with
90%.
causality. I'll be causality.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? You realize how much? Hey, let's do this and see what happens. Oh, okay, we'll write that down. now,
Yep.
let's see what we do with this. Can you imagine
Well,
the
you see,
Roman legions if you sit up there and just tweak a few things here and there?
well, technically, you can't actually do anything wrong. Because if everything goes absolutely tits up and you give them the weapons to the wrong people, etc., you just go back to just before you actually had the weapons and you shoot the guy you was going to give the weapons to.
Yeah.
That way you don't give them the weapons and you get to change the universe again to an effective infinite amount based on however much time there is in the universe,
Right.
which is an arguable statement at the best of
Right.
times.
Right. Well, the thing is about time travel, right? From a physics perspective, from a scientific and physics
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah.
All right. The idea that you can change time, all right, I don't believe it's possible. And if it is, you're not changing time. Okay? You are changing the
Mhm.
universe in which you live.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's the difference. the people talk about the many worlds view. That's what it would
Yeah.
have to be. Okay.
Yeah.
But now think of the power that would take to change the entire universe.
Yes.
Okay. Um, yeah, it wouldn't. The universe would be you would be ripping the universe into multiple different bubbles. Okay, not saying that's not you know that's not happening. Let's get on to the next story though, because there's another climate change
Yeah.
story from the Chinese: escalating climate crisis in Europe. Notice they don't talk about the climate crisis in China. Isn't that
There is
interesting?
no climate crisis. No, it's because there is no climate crisis. Because if there was a climate crisis, they'd send people in to make sure there wasn't a climate
Escalating
crisis
climate
anymore.
crisis in Europe calls for closer international cooperation.
Mm-hmm.
Storms triggered floods hit central Bosnia and Herzegovina on Friday, killing 19 and leaving many others missing along the Nertava River, one of the country's major waterways. At the same time, several Central European countries have been recovering from their worst flooding in over 2 decades. Extreme heat waves and flash floods are becoming increasingly common on the continent. Um, are they really? Or was it?
No.
Or is it that the flash floods are more noticeable now?
It's actually not even that. They're just being reported more.
Well, that's what I mean.
I.e. blown up. Yeah, all right. Okay, in that case, yes. They're
Because
basically being blown out of all proportion.
I
That's all
think
it is.
I think a lot of this, all right, has to do with the fact that as human beings have expanded across, the globe, the populations have
Mm-hmm.
grown, right? That a lot of things that are happening, well, they've been happening for a while. It was just never an issue because there were no humans there,
Yeah.
all right? I mean, I can tell you, for example, that every year we have this massive flooding in Houston, right? And that's because they built in areas that were natural floodplains and no one used to live there because they used to be smart enough to go, hey, don't build in a floodplain. Aliens. you know?
They sang about the siren, so I thought I'd give a good reason for why they have a siren.
Okay. All right. Here's question number one, Jensen.
Mm-hmm.
McDonald's fan favorite is returning to the UK after almost a decade, but you'll have to be quick.
Oh God, not the McRib.
The McRib. Yes, a legendary McDonald's item is returning to the menu for a limited time this month, almost 10 years after it vanished from the restaurant. The popular McRib will make its grand return on October 16th, and fans of the fast food chain are thrilled the favorite burger. It's a burger, all right. Is
Yeah.
heading back to the UK. The McRib, a pork patty topped with tangy barbecue sauce, pickles, onions, and a soft bun, was removed from McDonald's UK's offerings almost 10 years ago, despite its cult following. All right, since its debut in 1981. The McRib,
Mm-hmm.
really?
I'm assuming you have heard of the McRib.
Oh, I've had them before. I'm an
Okay.
elderly person. Remember this, okay? I remember
Mm,
when they were
okay.
first introduced, okay? And I
Yeah.
had one. Immediately said,
Meh.
exactly. What is? Eh? they're not savory in any way, shape, or form.
No,
Okay,
that's true.
it's not even. It's okay. It doesn't even rise to the taste level of a McDonald's hamburger, regular hamburger. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not.
And over here,
Yeah,
it's
go ahead.
also got problems, mate. Okay. it's pork, or at least it's pork material, which is probably a more accurate statement. Can you imagine the Muslims allowing pork on their food?
It's mostly
I don't
sugar.
think so. Somehow it is. It is. He's not wrong. Mm-hmm.
Uh, I just, but okay, the McRib.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now in the United States, they offer
Mm-hmm.
the McRib every few years. They always have.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not a it's not a staple item, right? In other
No.
words, it's not always on the menu, right? It's kind of like the
Yeah.
Shamrock Shakes,
Yeah.
right? In a sense, but the Shamrock Shakes show up every year, all right, during
Yeah.
right before uh,
Paddy's Day. Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day, yes. And
Mm-hmm.
quite frankly, it is kind of interesting to have a mint flavored shake because that's what it
Yes.
is. All right,
Oh yeah.
but it's not something they're smart enough. They're smart in the fact that they by doing it just every now and then, it doesn't get old. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's like, oh yeah, these are back. I kind of like these, right? I
Yeah.
never said that about the McRib. Okay, I don't think
Yeah.
anybody's ever said that about them. Well, somebody has, but it wasn't me.
Yeah.
The McRib was it's garbage, okay? It's seriously garbage.
I'm gonna remind you, okay, over here, the list of, and I'm going to use this term loosely, foods that are on McDonald's list is about a quarter of what you guys have on your lists. Okay, you have things that we literally will sit there and scratch our heads at. It is purely that you have a larger range to have access to. Us over here, on the other hand, we literally get the bare bones of what they feel like letting us have,
Yeah,
and that
yeah,
is what it is.
but you put mayonnaise on freaking French fries. Just
I am innocent of that. I cannot
I'm just
stand
saying this.
mayonnaise.
All right,
Uh,
you might be
so
innocent
actually,
of it,
well,
but your compatriots aren't.
this is unfortunately true. One thing I will tell you, okay, I found some tomato ketchup, smoky bacon flavor.
Oh, well, there's different flavors of bacon. That's true. I mean,
I know, but smoky bacon ketchup, I like it. It's really nice on burgers. Just saying.
well, a real burger, not a McRib.
No, no, oh no. Then again, you can't really call anything from McDonald's real, can you?
That is stuff. That joke from I think it was from Robin Williams, right? They just have a vat of stuff in the back. I'm not sure which comedian did it. Just a vat of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It could also have been George Carlin. I mean, it was all McDonald's stuff is.
Fair.
There's just a big vat of stuff. What do we need? Hamburger. Here you go. Cheeseburger. Here you go.
He's
Change.
not wrong.
Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
Cardboard
Not wrong.
box. There you go.
The thing is, it's the same box that you're taking it from. You notice that part.
Exactly. Anyway,
Yeah.
desperate Harry gets serious about repairing his image, and Megan is not part of the project. I did this strictly for you. He's in a bit of a hairy situation. Who the hell wrote this?
don't
Brooke
the
Cato. I don't
joke.
know who his Brooke Cato is. All right, but
Mm-hmm.
you need to be hit with a pain stick just for that comment one time. Don't do that again. All right. Sources
Yeah.
claim that Prince Harry is taking his fall from grace quite hard as he faces a fading A-lister friendships and attempts to repair his public image, making numerous public appearances in recent days, sans wife Meghan Markle. The Daily Mail reports that the Duke of Sussex was not in attendance at his supposed pal George Clooney's humanitarian awards ceremony in New York City, despite being in the Big Apple for a high profile appearance on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon the same day. Jimmy Fallon still exists. The Tonight Show still exists. That's interesting. All right. Last year, John Hornby, all right, once a staunch ally of the prince, stepped down from Harry's charity to work with a fierce, high-profile critic of Meghan's TV personality, Jeremy Clarkson. I don't know who
Oh
the
God.
I don't know who
Oh,
any of these people
Clark.
really are. All right.
Okay. Hold right there. Jeremy Clarkson is rather well known for his absolute disgust towards Meghan Markle, to the degree that I count as loving her and possibly even considered friendly towards Diana. Seriously, that man hates her with a passion. Okay? It's impressive.
Okay.
Damn.
Okay. Does this have any impact on you British at all? That Harry wants to be coming back home without the Meghan Markle.
Kind of. And it's only because the only reason we'll let him back is if she's not involved. I'm being serious how disliked this person is. Okay, it's positively biblical how much we can't stand her.
Now, I can't stand her for the same reason I can't stand Harry for the same reason I can't stand, you know, a lot of celebrities because they're leftist loons. Okay? All right?
Yeah,
They're a
that's the
danger
problem.
to
She's worse.
humanity. And she's a leftist loon. There's no doubt about that. Right? I'm not gonna deny
Mhm.
that, but I don't think it makes a difference because he's a leftist loon too, right?
Um, no. Well, yes and no at the same time. Excuse me. He's a leftist loon because of her. He's not a leftist loon in and of himself. Basically, how am I going to say this politely? She used her womanly wiles to persuade him round to her way of thinking. I think that is the politest way I can put it.
But
Trust
his
me, I
whole
can say
family
it.
thinks that way. I can't think that it's just her. Okay, the people he was hanging out with before were kind of lefty loons too. The only difference
You're
is
saying
that they were the degenerate lefty loons that were part of the P Diddy set. He didn't get involved with that, thankfully. At least not that I know of. All right.
no, that's fair, but then again, it's not like his uncle Prince Andrew
Well, I
has
was gonna make
any.
that comment. All right.
But I would remind you, sir, Harry, when he was cool, went to a Halloween party dressed as an SS officer quite happily.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how
Okay.
left wing he is questionable.
Okay. Let's stop with this for a second.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference? All right. Sans the leadership. Let's take the
Mm-hmm.
leadership out of the equation. Okay. What's the difference between the Nazis, right,
Yeah.
or fascists? A better word is fascists, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
than communists.
Good. That's a reasonable question. I'll be honest with
Okay. Now,
you. Mm-hmm.
the thing people sit up there and talk about is the fact that the fascists still have corporations and so forth, correct? That
Yes.
and those corporations are directed by the government, correct? Am I
Yes.
wrong?
Kind of.
Okay. You
Well,
know.
uh, I'm going to remind you, I still actually truly believe that the West as a whole is actually going to be going full capitalist at times, to the degree that the corporations will no longer be being controlled by the government. In fact, the government will actually be put into a secondary role.
Okay. You believe that.
That's just me.
Okay. But
Oh,
but
yeah.
But what do you see in governments, including ours, but especially in the European governments today? You see governmental control over the corporations, right?
Hold there. Mm. What I see is the European governments trying to show that they have control. I actually think that they are losing control,
Really?
and that's why oh yes, they are literally fighting to keep control. That is why they're exerting so much effort into it to regain the control, not keep the control. Do you understand the difference?
Yeah, kind of, but I don't know
Good.
if I agree with you. Right? If Jimmy Fallon
Hmm.
lost his talk show booth, he'd have to get a real job or something, like doing weather on CNN.
Yeah.
All right, first of all, uh, why did anybody even think Jimmy Fallon was talented? He's never displayed any. I'm
No.
serious. Okay. As a
Hmm.
as a stand-up comedian, has anybody laughed at his jokes? All right. You can talk about
Okay.
the people who were hosting the Tonight Show. All right. In the past, but they were true comedians. Even Jay Leno, all right, was a stand-up comedian and was actually halfway funny, right? He
No,
could actually
now I'm going to give you something to laugh at. I didn't even know Jimmy Fallon was a comedian. Genuinely, I didn't. I didn't actually know. As in, my next question is: are you sure?
I no, frankly,
That point. All right.
right?
All right. That's an answer. All right.
That's the main difference between
Oh,
fascists and communists, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't. The problem
mhm.
is, I think the rest of these people that keep talking about the rest of these leftist loons in this country, especially, keep talking about fascist, fascist. The true fascist, from the way you look at it, are you? Because that's what you want.
Yep.
You don't want communism.
Oh no.
Okay, that's evident. Okay, something that I think that you probably would cheer about. The end of fluoridation in the U.S. water could be in sight after a federal court ruling. A judge has ordered an EPA risk assessment amid fear that the additives that strengthens teeth could harm children's IQs. For
Oh.
for
Oh.
decades, drinking water fluoridation components were often portrayed as fringe element and conspiracy theorists. All right, but a federal ruling in the U.S. may put an end to the practice and marks a pivotal. Excuse me, that was not what I intended to do. This is what I intended to do.
Hmm.
All right, a pivotal point in their campaign to convince the public and policymakers of the substance dangers for infants' developing brains, armed with a growing body of scientific evidence pointing toward fluoride's neurotoxicity. All right, public health advocates say the legal win shows that they are overcoming the institutional inertia and unwillingness of the federal public health agencies to admit they were wrong. All right, the order last week requiring the EPA, all right, to begin the process of strengthening fluoride regulations represents a landmark legal win for that has long been in the making, said Stuart Cooper, director of the Fluoridation Action Network Advocacy Group.
Can I make a comment now?
Please do.
Apparently, your illustrious country think it's a good idea to provide what they are using the term baby water. Literally, water for newborn babies up to toddler that have been heightened full of fluoride. You know, the thing that helps your teeth. So at this point, your brain is saying to you, well, that's a good thing. It helps babies' teeth. Now, I don't know about you guys. I realize humans are a little bit different, so they confuse me. But when a baby's born, it generally doesn't have teeth. It's kind of one of the things that's well known about it. Am I wrong here? You've had kids, you know this more than I do.
No. Babies tend not to have teeth when they're born. That's very true.
Yes. So why the living arc is America providing hyperfluoridated water to babies?
Why? Why?
Please
Because
explain.
it's not being provided to babies.
Oh
It's
no,
being
it
provided to
is.
the public. Okay.
No, that I think this is where we have a small problem. And again, I could be wrong, and I am willing to step aside from this if I am. I want that clear.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I've been told, this is a baby product in the
No,
baby aisle for babies. You're seeing a pattern here, aren't you?
no, that's not what this is.
No. Okay, then.
They are putting fluoride in the water. All right, that
Dude,
comes
they've
out
been
of
doing
your
it over here.
tap.
Yeah, they've been doing it over here for years. This is literally water's wet, fire's hot. Okay.
Yeah, That's what they're talking about with this. They're not talking about
Yeah,
a fluoride thing. Child's aisle. They do have toothpaste with fluoride in it in the children's
agree.
aisle, but those are children that already have teeth. All right, it's not
Funnily
fluoride.
enough.
It's not fluoridated. There isn't fluoride water for your infant. Okay.
Um, do yourself a favor, and again, I'm willing to be wrong, but take a little look for baby water. And when you find out that I may actually be correct on this, don't be too surprised,
Once
mate.
again, the
Yeah.
term baby water would also include when the babies are several months old, to include 6 months old because they have teeth at 6 months.
Yes, I
Okay,
agree.
so I'm not saying people aren't buying this stuff for their infant. All right, that's just been their newborn infants. It's not something that people are buying it for. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
and giving it to them, they're not. I'm telling you now, they're not. Now
No.
they do a lot of stupid things in this country. I'm not going to be the one who's going to deny that. All right. And I'm not
Mhm.
saying that the IQ levels of the country haven't been dropping because they have. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm not sure it's because of the fluoride, but
I think it's just
I'm willing to
natural.
I'm willing to entertain the idea. However, okay, I will admit that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay. Nomad, I'm just gonna put this in your DMs. I sat there and looked it up myself. There you go, mate.
all right. While I'm looking at the DMs, we'll put a little
Oh yes.
cat girls for the folks
Yep.
there. Baby Wassa.
Yeah.
That's a
But
German name,
literally,
dude.
yeah. No, I agree. That one there specifically is German, but it's actually a thing that is in America. We don't do it over here because we literally feed our babies from the tap, which is hyperfluoridated as well. I agree, but at least tap water is technically better because
All right, and enough of the cat girl scene. You deal with
no. We always need more cat girls. I just want that
it.
clear.
Let's go on to the next story.
Hmm.
Lawyer for Diddy.
Oh,
child,
here we
child,
go.
for Diddy child accuser vows to out famous accomplices we all know. Okay, why wait?
Yeah.
Okay, if you're really serious about outing these child diddlers, all right. A Texas lawyer who says he's representing more than a dozens of potential victims of the alleged sex trafficking music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, all right, vows to name names in an ominous warning to the entertainment industry this week. Tony Busby is a former recon Marine officer and the head of a Houston based national law firm, which is joined by the ABA law group representing 120 new accusers. I expect there are a lot of nervous people right now who are searching their memories, scrubbing their social media, deleting their data on their phones in the hopes that they are not somehow in any way associated with this. Yeah, but why aren't you naming names? No, look, I'm all for this. Okay, and I don't think I doubt you aren't for it either, Jensen.
Oh no. I can tell you why he's not doing. I can give you two reasons. One, he's not. He's basically trying to fish around to get money to keep his mouth shut. Two, he's terrified in case he appears in the news after committing suicide by shooting himself in the back of the head 4 times.
Oh, it's the Clinton side. But
I never said that.
we already know the Clintons were,
Involved, yeah.
you know, well-known celebs at Diddy events. Let's leave it at that. Let's put it that way. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
All right. That's not even in dispute anymore. Okay.
yeah,
So th- that isn't going to affect anything. The question is who else is involved in this? All right. And granted, I
yeah,
suspect that it's a lot of there's a lot of people, all right, involved in this within the Hollywood set.
yes.
Okay, including some of the people who, quite frankly, should have been outed decades and decades ago. Like, I don't know, the head of Disney at this point in time, Bob Iger.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying that he is. Right? I'm not saying that he's one of the people at the parties.
Hmm.
But is there any doubt in your mind that or would it be a great surprise to you that he was involved in some of these parties or even attended, even if he didn't do anything? You gonna tell me he wasn't part of that set? They all know one another.
Let's
They
see.
all hang out with one another.
Let's see. Does Disney have a reputation for an interest in young children? No, not at all. Honestly, Governor, stop noticing all these things that are appearing in the papers. Yes, of course he.
The
If he
gener
didn't, actually, if he didn't, it shows his incompetence at the fact that he wasn't invited to such things. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that the thing that bothers me about these kind of comments is don't wait, put it out there, rip the band-aids
Yes,
off. Get this kind of
yes,
stuff in the public eye so that we can try to take care of it. The longer you hide it, the worse it's going to get.
yes.
Okay. As America's marijuana use grows, so do the harms.
Mm-hmm.
No shit. Really? Did this? A Mid-Coast, Maine, a pediatrician sees teenagers so dependent on cannabis that they consume it practically all day, every day. A remarkably scary event, she said. From
Sure.
Washington State to West Virginia, right, psychiatrists treat a rising number of people whose use of the drug has brought on delusions, paranoia, and other symptoms of psychosis. And this surprises who? In the emergency departments of small community hospitals and large academic medical centers alike. Again, not a surprise. All right, physicians encounter patients with severe vomiting induced by the drug, a potentially devastating condition that once was rare, but now they say is common. Those patients look so sick, writhing around in pain. As marijuana legalization has accelerated across the country, doctors are contending with the effects of an explosion in the use of the drug and its intensity. A $33 billion industry has taken root. Okay, let's stop right there. Do you think it's 33 billion?
And the rest?
All right, 33. Do you think it's 33 billion?
Mm-hmm.
This is America. Do you think it's 33 billion?
Yeah.
I don't.
No.
I think it's
No.
like 330 billion. Okay.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just putting it out there. I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it's a measly 33 billion. I think that's way on the low side for this shit. Are you kidding me?
Again, I'd like to give my little opinion here. I'm good for giving my opinion. You do realise that this is basically just their way of dangling the keys to the people, so as you stop looking at the fentanyl crisis and all of the other amphetamines, etc., 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 that your country has to deal with. And I would like it noted, fentanyl is also really, really bad over here. So I don't think I'm trying to blame you guys in any way at all.
Well,
But I
FinFed.
actually think this is just their way of going, look at the cannabis. Cannabis is bad. Stop looking at the fentanyl crisis.
Okay, we'll talk about the fentanyl crisis in just a moment because I got some comments to make. Didn't it, all right. Um, they didn't until Britney Spears has been more perverse since then.
Hmm.
I think Britney Spears took the idea mainstream.
Yeah.
Okay, I really think it was that bad right before Britney Spears. Okay, um, Britney Spears is a her and Lindsay Lohan, right? Are a part of it.
Hmm.
I got an associate who think pot has made his problems worse. Of course, he also has heads meds. Big Pharma tells us weed is bad, but COVID is good. Got it. Hold on.
Hmm.
Okay. Just because Big Pharma, all right, is telling you weed is bad, doesn't mean it isn't true. Okay.
Yeah.
I want it to be known. And I agree with you about the COVID shots because I refuse to get one.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm just letting you know. No, right? I was one of those
Hmm.
people who said no, and
Hmm.
my company initially was going to try to force that, and I was going to be forced to try and make be forced to make a decision, but saner people prevailed, and the reason was is because they were like, okay, you want to play this game, bye. And all of a sudden they were like, well, people are just leaving the company. Yeah, okay, well, we need to put a stop to that.
Yeah.
Right, so they made it, instead of mandatory, they made it optional. Okay, and they
Hmm.
say so a number of people's jobs were saved. A number of people still quit because the way hospitals were acting, because hospitals were saying if you want to come into our hospital, you have to have had the jab, right?
Yeah.
To work for work and so forth. All right. But luckily, I was not one of those people. I don't often have to go into hospitals to talk to clients. Okay, I do most of my work remotely.
Yeah.
Okay, uh, just just so people understand. Okay,
Hmm. Yeah.
the but to say that marijuana, the idea that marijuana is healthier for you than like cigarettes, it's always been a misnomer. And I'm not saying cigarettes, all right, and the cancer doesn't come from cigarettes. I'm not big tobacco, all right, any more than I'm big pharma. Okay, I do
Hmm.
believe that people get cancer from cigarettes, all right,
Yes.
down the line, and unfortunately, these things happen. Okay, it's not the only reason people get cancer, but it was, especially lung cancer.
Yeah.
But it was for a long time. It was the major reason people were getting lung cancer because the smoking was that ubiquitous across the Western
Yeah.
country. All right, you're not seeing lung cancer in the rates that you saw in the past
Hmm.
because smoking isn't as prevalent. Okay, but that doesn't mean that marijuana, which has other um, elements to it rather than nicotine and tar
Hmm.
that exist within the lungs. That doesn't mean that there aren't other things that are going to be found long term, all right, with the amount of marijuana use,
Yeah.
because it is going to be an issue. Like everything else, though, in moderation, you're generally okay. If you could smoke in moderation, well, what's smoking in moderation? One or two cigarettes a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can't see people that smoke a single cigar once a week is going to have much of an issue. 2 or 3 packs a day, different story. All right, and trust me, I understand why people do it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I was never. Luckily, I never got addicted to cigarettes.
Yeah.
I was one of the lucky ones. All right, but I know my son's addicted to them. Right, he struggles with trying to quit constantly.
Yeah.
So I broke my femur on the 1st of September, and they gave me OxyContin and the THC
Mm.
content that I eat works better than the OxyContin for pain.
Mm-hmm.
Shrapnel, I don't think that you are wrong. Okay, I totally understand what you're saying. Okay, OxyContin is highly is an opiate. For people who don't know about OxyContin, OxyContin is supposed to be. People said it was a painkiller and it was also an amphetamine. It's not an amphetamine. It's a downer. It's an opiate. All right, and it
Mm-hmm.
is highly addictive. All right, another one of these things
Oh
that
yeah.
people can be addicted to without even realizing.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Hey, okay.
welcome
Evening,
Yorkie,
gentlemen.
and how are you today?
Doing okay.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be in work, but I called in sick again because, well, I fucking hate my job.
Don't hold back. Say
not
how you
not a
really feel,
not a
mate.
precedent you want to be setting there, Yorkie.
I doubt my manager's searching YouTube for YouTube live streams to catch me out.
What you don't realize is Shrapnel is actually your manager in disguise.
They shot my face up with fentanyl. All right, let's okay. I promised to get back to fentanyl. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, in America, there was
That'd be an
something.
amazing quote out of context.
Why are you on fentanyl? Is that what you're trying to say there?
Oh no, just out of context. That'd be fucking amazing.
Right. In
And
America,
let's be honest, mate. He's from up north. He might well be on fentanyl.
you not even know it.
Yeah, that's right. I said that.
They're taking a poor piss out of Yorkie. No, no.
Oh,
But back to fentanyl. In America, there
yes.
was something called fen. Have you heard of it?
No,
Okay.
can't say I have.
Fen was fentanyl with another type of drug mixed with it. Okay.
Okay.
It was a weight loss drug. Okay.
Uh-oh. Mm-hmm.
It was, how do I say, extraordinarily effective. It was
No.
wildly, and I mean wildly effective. I'm not joking. Okay. People were dropping
Yeah.
weight left and right, and not in a pound here or a pound there. They were dropping 10 to 15 pounds in a week for 4 or 5 weeks straight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fucking hell, where do I find this now?
Here's the problem. It's no longer sold in this country because while it was very effective as a weight loss drug, it was also very effective in damaging the heart, and people started having cardiac arrests left and right.
You were saying, Yorkie?
Okay.
Well, at least I won't have to pay rent anymore.
That's fair. No, actually, hold up, Yorkie. Are you really sure about that? You do realise Labour might actually try and find a way of renting graveyards now that soon. Okay.
Don't give them fucking ideas.
I know. That's the terrifying part. They may actually do that.
I'm just saying that there is, when you find something that's too good to be true, okay, it probably is, okay? All right, I was seriously thinking when I heard about fen and started reading about it when it was first out. I was like, wow, this is awesome. Okay, I can see
Mhm.
people doing this left or right, and it wasn't. It wasn't. It was around for about a year until they came back and said, "People, wait a minute here. we see a problem with this. People are dying." All right, but I'm telling you, it was something else, and fentanyl was a primary ingredient. All right, in this, and I think one of the reasons why fentanyl is so popular in this country is due to the fact that it started from fen, all right, and people,
Mhm.
you know, people. I think people tried to when it got banned. People said, "Well, I still want it. I still, even though I know the risk, I still want it," and it was banned, right? And so I think people were like, "Well, we can create our own," and then people realized, James was saying, it's like synthetic meth. You know, I mean, it's. I mean, people are like, "Oh, we'll just get the fentanyl part. We'll just to hell with the other part of it, part of the weight loss regimen."
Yeah.
All right, so just it's an interesting, it's an interesting
Mm.
little historical kind of like thing.
But to bring it back round to the conversation, that's what I still say that they're actually doing that whole thing about the weed, literally just to say look, we're doing something. Look at the weed. Stop looking at the other drug problem that's going on. After all, it's not like the fentanyl thing is in any way connected to those down south now, is it?
Eh,
I remember
that's
hearing
true.
I remember
Hmm.
hearing a conspiracy theory that the reason Hitler went the way he did was because he was just constantly off his tits on meth.
He was off his
Because
It was
everything
off
was,
his tits a long time before he got the meth. I think a little bit of mustard gas probably induced a lot of that psychosis. All right, early on.
uh,
I'm just putting it out
well,
there.
I'm sure the meth didn't help,
No, no,
especially considering like half the country was on it.
okay. Well,
Go
let me go back to the. We'll put the we'll put the other scene on for a
drug
little
thing
bit while
back.
we're talking about. Yeah, no, we'll talk about the other drug stuff in a little bit here. The
Right, sorry, wait, no, wait a minute, mate. You're saying that you're talking about a drug thing while you're showing anime boobs. Of course, people are hooked on what you're showing. It's anime boobs.
all right. I don't know where he wants to go with this.
Just
There,
trying
you
to
happy?
suggest. I'm trying to help you. That's
Yeah,
better.
you happy?
Yes. Now only degenerates like me are happy instead of
Yeah,
everybody.
okay. We'll go with that. All right. Meth. Okay. The, the Germans discovered meth. This is true. Okay.
Hmm.
They also discovered the benefits of meth. All right, from their perspective. Okay,
Hmm.
because when you hyped up a bunch of people with guns on meth, they would fight for months on end, as long as you kept them hyped up on freaking meth. Okay,
Yes.
they could march faster, they could move quicker. All right, their pilots could fly longer. All right, and you know what? Their psychosis got worse. But it was okay because most of the time their psychosis wasn't killing people, and since they're on the front lines, that's kind of what you want.
Yes.
All right. Now
True.
the fact that the mustache man was taking it as well. Hey, it was kind of like a flavor enhancer, right? I'm just putting it out there. I don't think it took him off the deep end. All right. I just think it. Here's a shovel to keep digging. Okay, that's all I think it
That's
was.
fair.
Well, in his
That's fair.
case, okay. Now it may have induced certain other individuals within his retinue that did go off the deep end, okay, along with him, because people forget what Hermann Goering was like prior to becoming the Fat Man. Okay, when they talk about Hermann Goering being a hero of the German people prior to World War II, he was. I mean, he was the epitome of a German male until he got hurt, became addicted to drugs, including opiates, right? And basically became what we see him as. Right before he was
Yeah.
hung, or right before he was due to be hung, however, he had lost almost all of his weight. He was down closer to his normal human weight. Of course, he had been in a U.S. prison, okay, and he escaped the hangman's noose. People forget this. He poisoned himself because an American soldier gave him the poison to kill himself rather than face the hangman.
Yeah.
Okay, enough of this. Off to the scenes that we're supposed to be watching. People are getting salmon sperm ejected into their faces. Why? You know what? That's a good freaking question. But it's only the start of the whys. It's not a single why, it's multiple whys.
Yes.
Life can be so disorienting. One minute, you're minding your own business. The next thing you know, someone says the words salmon sperm facial. Jarring to say the least. Who wrote this story? Madeline Aguilar. All right. I got a question, Madeline. Who the hell are you hanging out with where the term salmon sperm facial comes into the, the discussion?
They literally tell you in the headlines there, Kim Kardashian and Jennifer Aniston.
All right.
Again,
have had
does
this
this shock you?
have had this treatment done. Like Aniston, I have a few questions. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
uh, no, you don't have the questions you need. All right, because like Aniston, if Aniston got the damn treatment, she didn't ask enough questions. Okay?
What I want to know is who the fuck came up with this idea in the first place?
Yes.
One question, Yorkie. The question you need to ask: who's going around tossing off salmon?
Yes,
That's what you
too.
should be asking.
Aren't salmon endangered species? Who's raping
They are
salmon to
now.
get their sperm? Am I missing something here? This. Let me
No,
get.
but I've just noticed the words nipple bra purveyor, and that is not a sentence I ever really wanted to put together as a statement. Wow.
I'm not even going to read the rest of the story. I don't have to. I just got to know. All right.
Nomad, James's comment. When you said salmon sperm facial, I thought, how in God's name do they jerk off the fish? You don't actually want to know, and if you ever do want to know, maybe you probably should stay away from the freak out videos that Diddy had, because it probably involved him in some way, shape, or form, and you know it.
either that or the grizzly man. All right. Talking to the
Yeah.
bears. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Make a deal with
Is
the
that why I keep
bear.
seeing? Is this why I keep seeing a lot of middle-aged women lurking around the fish style?
Not wrong.
Next, they're coming for the guppies. They're coming for the guppies. Oh my god. But poor goldfish. They're doomed.
I guess this may be the worst time to point out that apparently the sunfish has enough mass to, I believe, some like produce or lay like 1 trillion eggs at a time.
Yeah, but you want the male ones. We don't need extra little things.
This is a fair statement.
I finally caught you live again. Welcome, Dark Star. I'm just putting it out there. Okay.
Before you continue, MC, I'm just sending you a meme.
Uh,
I don't know. I actually don't know what you want to do about it, but I'll also send it to you, Yorkie, because I know you will appreciate it.
all right.
It's in your DMs.
Since he sent me a meme, I have to put the
Take a
catgirls
look.
on while we wait.
Oh no, more cat girls. How will I cope?
Oh no, it's
Not nice, Stetson. Not nice.
What?
Just
What?
put it out
oh no, Jensen. I work in retail. It'd be such a tragedy if I kept doing this.
there.
Oh,
down,
it's a good job
down, you
nobody sent
two.
you that meme.
Down, down. No dropping bacon in the halal section. All right, just no.
Yorkie, I am officially banning you from doing that. You are not allowed to do that, and I'm saying this on an electronic device to prove that I have said it.
You're not my fucking manager.
No, we know we know that that's shrapnel.
Goodness me. Stories like this are why.
Hey, dear.
Screw the people. All right, let's get on to the next story. The DA is investigating new molestation evidence in the Menendez murders in victory for the brothers. All right.
Mhm.
For those who don't know, the Menendez brothers killed their parents in a fit of rage and then lived high on the hog on their did tried to hide the fact that they killed their parents and were just basically until they basically ran out of money and people started asking questions. Okay.
Ah,
All right. More than 3 decades after Eric and Lyle Menendez killed their parents in a sensational murder case that captivated the nation, the LA County's District Attorney George Gascon, all right, said Thursday that his office would review what he described as new evidence that the brothers were molested, a move that could lead to their resentencing. Okay. Um, the Menendez brothers brutally killed their parents. Okay.
okay.
They are a threat to society. It doesn't matter why they're a threat to society. They are a threat to society.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they were underage when they did this, but they were tried as adults, which is one of the reasons why it was such a sensationalized trial.
Okay.
Okay. They then tried to claim, oh, we were molested. And people were like, so what? There's plenty of people molested who don't go around whacking both their parents and then acting like they are still alive while you basically ran through all their money. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
There are
The
people who are
closest.
molested, and what the results are, it generally is after the molesting parent is disposed of. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the people then go to the police and say, "Damn right I did, because this is what the son of a bitch did to me."
Yeah.
All right, that's what used to happen in this country. Used to.
Yeah.
Okay, and then they would
The,
either go to trial, or once upon a time they would go to the nut house for a bit before they were quote unquote rehabilitated because they were no longer a threat to society. I wouldn't put
Yeah.
that in this case. These guys are a threat to society. Okay.
the closest I could think of something like this happening over here. God, I can never remember the names of them or what the incident was called, but it was in Liverpool in the 90s. Couple of like 9 or 10 year olds just snatched a random like infant and
Oh.
tortured and killed it and left it on the tracks. And
Yes. Oh, just.
they were put in some sort of yeah, some kind of like prison for children or whatever,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
they
Kardashian
got
is
released.
defending these bricks. Yeah, that's what they do. These
Yeah,
celebrities try to defend these obvious criminals. All right,
Mm-hmm.
as if, oh
they
no,
found.
they didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do. They're innocent. They're just little. No, no, they're murdering savages. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you can agree with me or disagree with me about the death penalty all you want, I that's we can have reasonable disagreements for it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
the main reason for people to say that they disagree with the death penalty, all right, is because how many people run around going, yeah, but they're innocent. All right, how many convicted murderers, innocent people get executed when they didn't actually commit the murder. And I will be the first person to tell you that that does happen. Okay, I understand that point of view. I also understand how myopic that point of view is because that's a childlike version of that point of view. But I'm not going to argue that point. Okay, because it's not applicable in this case at all. These people are a threat to society. Now, how great a threat? We can argue over that. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
Just putting it out there, right? The fact that they were raped or molested, all right, is it possible? It's California. It's a Hollywood type of set. Yes. All right.
Yeah.
So, not trying to, pigeonhole you or do any of that pseudo intellectual shit, but would you have had a lot less issue if it was literally like they just put, you know, gave him the Mozambique treatment and then just walked into the police station like, yep,
Oh yeah.
kill my dad, he molested me.
Yes. I'd have a lot less because someone like that they know what they've done is wrong.
Yes.
All right, and they're willing to accept the consequences for it. Okay. See, people like that are still thinking about not just themselves but society as a whole. All right, and it's society, whether
Mm-hmm.
people like it or not. It isn't an individual who judges; it's society's rules that you're dealing with. You're dealing with social justice, true social justice. This is what social justice is about. All right.
Yeah.
So yes, exactly, and it's a good question, Yorkie. It really is. All right, because I would have more respect for something like that. A woman who sits up there and is getting abused by her husband, who then takes a tire iron to him after she shows him into a bed sheet and kills him, right? And then walks to the police station and says, "Here's what I did." Puts the tire iron down. Like, yes, I have no problem. All right, with defending that individual because they had no other choice. Okay, but they're not a threat
You
to
probably want to
society.
use the term accentuating circumstances in the
Well,
situation.
you're given these kind of things. The thing that irritates me is all this temporary insanity crap, and then when the Menendezes brought this all out, it was completely unique. Oh, here's the reason we did it, but they only came up with that reason during the trial. They had never said anything about this beforehand. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not talking about people who don't know better. You're not talking about a 5-year-old. Okay, a 5-year-old
Mm-hmm.
that pulls a gun out of mommy's purse to defend mommy because daddy was beating her or yelling at her or doing whatever, right? And fires the gun and kills
Mm-hmm.
daddy. That is an entire different situation. That is a true,
Yes.
in my opinion, that's a true minor. Okay, that
Yeah.
is someone who does it. But if a 12-year-old does it or a 13-year-old does it, look, it's understandable. You just have to understand. You just have to then go, okay, here's what I did and here's why. To stand to the consequence, just
Yes.
like everybody else. If somebody broke into my home, for example, Yorkie, and I'm not disagreeing with you, I want you to understand this. But if somebody broke into my house and I shot them, would I then try to hide the body? No. I would walk to the police and go, here it is, here's the body, here's what he did, and here's why I shot him. I'm willing to
Mm-hmm.
accept society's rules, all right, on
Yeah.
this. So,
Yeah.
and yes, if you break into my home, there's a very good chance you will be shot. Just pointing it out there. Okay.
Yeah. Like, I know this might be considered wrong think where I'm at, but I actually have a hatchet in my house that I bought for self-defense because if somebody was to break into my house and I used that hatchet on them, I'd rather deal with a manslaughter charge than, be murdered myself.
Yeah.
You know that's not the real reason that you have that hatchet. I know you, all All right, you're making sure that damn freaking treant doesn't come in the house again.
This is fair.
Those freaking mobile trees, they're just a freaking pain in the ass. you gotta have something to take them down. All
You
right,
just got to hope it does take them down.
here's another story for you, Jensen. That's why I'm glad you're here. And you, Yorkie.
Yeah.
Miner dies crossing the channel to Britain, French officials say.
Mm-hmm.
Maritime authorities retrieved several deceased, including one young child, from a boat and airlifted another would-be asylum seeker to hospital on Saturdays. Some 47 undocumented illegal immigrants, all right, have died attempting to travel from France to the UK by boat this year.
You notice how we get the blame, by the way, even though it came from France.
A
Just saying.
French tow vessel. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the name because it's French, and I just would obliterate the name. Right, picked up 14 people on a boat, including the deceased, during a rescue mission between 8 and 9 a.m. Again, several migrants, several illegal aliens, lost their lives trying to reach Britain by crossing the Channel. The Pas de Calais prefecture in northern France said. Wait, let's stop with something first of all because I got some questions.
Mm-hmm.
First question. Maybe it's just me. Aren't there like boats that travel to Ireland?
Yeah, but everyone knows. I'm going to enjoy saying this. Ireland's not as good as England.
Yeah, but if you go to Ireland, you can then walk into Northern Ireland, right?
One thing I should point out, okay,
I'm,
and
I'm
here I'm
just
going to
I'm not
defend the
making
Irish.
suggestions to people. I'm really curious to see how your country is handling that issue at the moment.
It's because in Ireland, the Irish have decided to do what the English should have done, which is grow a pair of nuts and turn around and say, "You come over here, we're going to burn you," and they literally are. The riots that are going on over in Ireland is what we should be doing over here, and screw you, Keir Starmer, if you don't like it.
Also, MC, for a bit of context, I believe the closest border, closest gap between Britain and France,
21 miles.
that's 21. I thought 30, but yeah,
No,
like
21 miles.
right, but yeah, like people are able to swim from those 2 points. I think they used to do it like once a year as some little sport thing.
Well,
Yep.
yeah, some people can, but you better be in shape to do it. I guarantee these migrants aren't. Okay,
Yeah, it's
these
just a bit of
illegal
context,
aliens are
like
not going to do
yeah,
it, right?
just a bit of context though. It's not like they're it's not like they're sailing across the Atlantic or something.
Well, no. First of
It's actually a
all,
fairly close.
if I'm not mistaken, the channel has some real odd and very dangerous tidal action, does it not?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so swimming this thing is not a it's not
Conducive.
it's
Yeah.
not it's not it's something that's very very easy to do. Now,
Mm.
I would like to ask where the guys got the Zodiac. Okay, where did they get this thing? Do these things just like hang out on the coast or something?
Literally hordes.
Okay,
Kind of. That's what's weird.
okay, you don't. And this thing is meant for. Okay, let's be honest. Traveling when there's not waves, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not meant for taking on the North Sea, for example. Okay.
Not only that, see, it would be okay if they actually had the air quotes correct amount of people on it. Unfortunately, there's usually 50 to 75% on top of the maximum load the ship should
Well, in other
have,
words,
or the boat.
like they were showing here, where it looks like there's probably a good 30 or 40 people in there. Who knows how many are being stepped on at the bottom of that pile?
Yeah, 30 to 40. I think the average was like 60 to 70.
Yeah, so I mean, this is not
Also,
something.
I should mention for just for a bit of extra context to make things a bit spicier. There has been a few witnessed cases of great white sharks going along that channel.
I did not put them in the water. You have no evidence.
I know that there's sharks in there, and they do attack from time to time, right? Because the people when back in the like in the '80s when they were making a big event about
Mhm.
someone swimming the channel, they said
Yeah.
we had a number of times they had to beat off sharks, right? And beat them back, I should say, not beat off, considering the earlier statement.
I was going to say, we're going back to the salmon thing again.
Now
Poor
just
choice of
imagine a
poor
great
choice
white.
of words.
Now just imagine a great white shark with like a fucking iron cross tattoo.
You know what they should do is, since that story was about salmon sperm, people should start making stories about great white sperm and see what happens.
Don't. Actually, no, do it. Do it
Yes,
because it's
please,
funny.
please try to wank off a great white shark. See what happens.
Just,
I'll
just a
be honest,
suggestion.
it'll be a shock for the shark just as much as it is for the person doing it.
Just a thing. Just a suggestion, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, for a bit of news for something else, right? Ishiba, all right, visits disaster hit Ishikawa in the first inspection tour as prime minister. Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, all right, on Saturday visited the central Japan areas devastated by a deadly earthquake in January and heavy rains in September in his first inspection tour after taking office earlier in the week. Ishiba inspected many of the areas in the Ishikawa prefecture where heavy rain late last month flooded homes, including temporary housing for survivors of a powerful quake that struck in the region on New Year's Day. He spoke to quake survivors who were forced to evacuate from their temporary homes in Wajima, all right, due to flooding, and also visited the site in the city of the major marketplace destroyed by fire following the quake. Okay, so I can hear it now. Well, that's kind of a boring story, right?
I'm waiting for the good bit. Yeah.
Well, here's a question, honest question for you two.
Hmm.
Did you know that there was a new prime minister in Japan?
Wrong question. Did we even know that there was even more disasters in Japan? Is the thing you should be asking.
Well, that was the next one.
Oh, right. Okay. My apologies.
Last thing I heard about Japan, I think it was last year when the prime minister got assassinated with a fucking pipe gun.
Yep.
That was about
Same.
3 years ago, right?
That should give you a
and,
clue.
and it was the former prime minister, all right, not the sitting prime minister.
Oh, all right, all right. I just tried to
We are
remember. Like,
literally
it's all,
running out.
just just let you know. But the thing is, right? I normally kind of stay on top of this stuff. I didn't even realize they had a turnover of the government.
No, me
Now,
neither.
nothing against anybody, but I hear more. I used to hear more news about Japan and what was going on in Japan than I did a lot of times with what was going on in several major cities in the U.S. This was a shock to me. All right, because
Yeah.
this, whether I like it or not, Japan is a major partner of the United States in the world. We need
Yes.
support of Japan, all right, internationally. They are a major player. To have gotten so far out where I wasn't even aware of this. And I'm wondering if part of the reason was that I wasn't aware of it, and maybe you guys are different, but COVID, their response to COVID was stay the hell out of my country. All right, nobody
Let,
comes here.
let's be fair, okay? Their response to literally everything is stay the hell away from my country. It's like you guys and your bloody boats, okay?
Well, the thing is I wonder if the lack of knowing what's going on in Japan is due to the fact that tourism was basically cut off and really hasn't returned to the levels that it was before. All right, that we are not as in tune as to what's going on with Japan that we used to be.
You
You.
almost had it right. Do you want to know what's really going on? Godzilla is blocking the information from getting out. That's what.
It's not this, unfortunately, right? Right, Jensen. It's not the
Yeah.
cat. It's not the cat girls. It's not little
No, no,
kitties.
no, no. No, they're just keeping that part secret. They've already got them.
Don't you wish?
Oh God, yes.
Also, of all the channels, all the people I know, I never expected you, of all people, MC, to have fucking anime girls in bikinis on your stream.
That is all because of Johnson or Jensen.
Hi, and you okay? You okay? Oh, oh, you okay?
God, you never gonna let that go, are you?
No. No, not ever. No. But just thought I'd let you know.
I didn't realize the context of that word.
All right, I'm not sure what's going on. I'm just going to avoid asking questions that might incriminate me in other ways. No,
I completely understand.
it's just one of the things that kind of caught me off guard because normally I'm fairly aware of what's going on in Japan, specifically because I've been very curious how their response to China has been, right, and then whether or not they're going to go full bore, waiting for them to go full bore, all right, militarization mode. All right, not to the sense that they were in World War II, but I do. There has been serious talk within the Japanese government of rebuilding their carrier fleet. Okay, and quite frankly, all right, it would be welcome news. Okay, it really would be. All right, from an American perspective. People are far too overly reliant upon the United States in our force projection. Having another country with decent force projection in the world is something that I would, especially if they're an ally, I would, I applaud. Just putting it out there. Right. Okay. Singer speaks. Garth Brooks says sexual assault claims have been like having a loaded gun waved in my face and thanks fans for his life. Country music star Garth Brooks has hit back at allegations he sexually assaulted an employee, insisting that threats to make the claim public have been like a loaded gun in his face. The singer, 62, is accused of raping his hair and makeup stylist in a hotel while the pair traveled together in 2019. Stop right there. Stop right there. Okay? Now, why is your hair and makeup stylist traveling with you? Okay?
So why do you need a hair and makeup stylist? Like, just get a comb.
But some of us like to look good, darling. Don't you understand?
How do I put this? the, the celebrities have created an image for themselves, not reality. Yeah. Okay? And that image is more important to them. Okay? Because it's how they make a living. Okay? Do they go overboard with this stuff? Of course, but when you're always around trying to work on your image, this is what happens. Now, the problem that I have with Garth Brooks, and I used to be a Garth Brooks fan until stunts like this. Singer Garth Brooks attends reception at the 2020 Kennedy Center honorees hosted by President Biden, right, at the White House in December of 2022. That's why. He's a leftist loon.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yeah.
He's a lefty loon. And when I found out about that, I was like, oh, man. Somebody,
You got to say he's one of the people you wouldn't think would be a lefty now, isn't he?
well, I mean, it's a country music. Most country music stars are not utterly leftist, but he is. Okay?
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't just that. Okay? And this woman is alleging that the assault took place when she and Brooks traveled from Nashville to Los Angeles together while he performed with soul singer Sam Moore at the Grammy Awards tribute in October of 2019. The lawsuit claims the pair were alone in his private jet for the trip, and he booked just one hotel suite for the both of them. Okay. Do I believe that he quote unquote raped her? No. Do I believe that he probably sexually assaulted her? No. Do I believe under the legal terms of the way the law works today that he rape her and sexually assault her? Yes. Okay. What do I mean by this? Let's be perfectly frank. I think they both probably had sex, all right, while they were both drunk or high off freaking drugs they were doing. And now she in a fit of remorse is now making these claims. And her claim
I
is,
believe that.
and I believe that her basic thing is saying, well, if I was impaired due to alcohol and so forth, I can't consent. I believe that that's
Mhm.
perfectly possible, and unfortunately, I also think it's perfectly possible that he's a because he's part of that leftist Hollywood set. Who knows what he got into? Okay,
Mhm.
that's also true. But I do believe that this woman, you don't get into the private jet with this guy and go into the same hotel room with him. Okay,
Yeah.
without saying okay, they're, for lack of a better term, I'll put it politely, an item per se. All right. So it's unfortunate. I used to really like, and I still like the music, but it's hard for me to even listen to anything from him now because of what I found out about him. And this is the problem about entertainers. This is why they should stay out of politics.
Yeah.
Your value as an entertainer to me, all right, is affected by what you do in the public sphere, all right, when it comes to politics. That's reality. Okay.
Mhm.
Now, can entertainers overcome that? Sure. But if they're constantly being activists for a cause, you can pretty much guarantee it totally destroys my view of you as an entertainer. You're no longer an entertainer, you're an
Mhm.
activist. Once you get to the point where you're no longer an entertainer, that your primary thing is an activist, I have nothing but disdain for you. Okay? It's just that simple.
Mhm. Did you hear about the CEO of Netflix? How he came out
Yep.
in for? Oh, good, good.
Yes, I did,
I've,
and of
I've,
course, Netflix is paying the price because people are
Oh
dropping
yes.
I,
Netflix left and right because he came out
well,
and has made that kind of a public statement. Once you become an
Uh,
activist, okay, once you become a
yeah,
massive activist, it's going to affect your ability to be an entertainer,
yeah.
and it's also
Hold up,
going
mate.
to.
What?
Go ahead.
Go on, Yorkie. You saying something, mate?
yeah, I haven't heard anything about
Okay, quick
Netflix.
version. Okay. The CEO of Netflix thought it'd be a really, really good idea with the amount of money they're losing with all the shows that they produced that are failing so miserably to come out and say, I like Kamala Harris. She's great. And apparently, Netflix has just on those words has had so many people cancel their Netflix. It's physically altering the bottom line on the Netflix, the amount of money they're getting each year. So
Right.
yeah,
Well,
he made the
let's be
boo boo.
honest. Is anyone surprised by that?
Not even
The
vaguely, but the
fact that he
point
was
is
a
he had the
leftist,
nut to step out and do it.
yeah, the fact that he's a leftist isn't the issue. People just assume
Hmm.
that once they find out that you're involved in Hollywood, people assume you're a leftist. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay? Whether
I
you
think the
are
one
or not
exception is
doesn't
purely.
matter. People are going to assume that you're a leftist. In this country, that's how it's
I
going
Yeah.
to
think
go.
the one exception to that is fucking Mel Gibson.
Well, there are a few exceptions, but and Mel Gibson is one of them.
Yeah.
But you people assume once you're involved in the Hollywood set that you're a leftist.
Yeah.
People will still go watch Hollywood films and everything else, even though you're in them. All right, if they think that
Hmm.
just because you're a leftist won't stop them. Once you start becoming an activist, you're going to
Yes.
destroy your entertainment value. Okay, that's where the line gets drawn. Is it your activism that you start to become known for? Now, there are
Hmm.
people who are good enough at their jobs as actors and actresses that people will still, yeah, but they're still good actor or actress, and they'll still go see them. But those people who are that good at acting and have those kind of skills are few and far between. Why do
Oh
you
yeah.
think? When was the last time you saw anything from Tim Robbins?
Can't say I have. Not in ages.
When was the last
Yes,
time you
I've heard
heard
the
about
name.
it? Something that you watched that Susan Sarandon was
Again.
in? Right.
Closest I can think of to this is like when I was younger. I used to be a massive fan of a Scottish comedian called Frankie Boyle.
My
Like he
God.
used to have really dark and edgy jokes, and
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
he was fairly open about his political views, but I think it was around like the 2010s he basically just became an activist and sold himself and just became a sellout to
Yes.
the BBC. Whereas, at least as far as from what I've seen, Jimmy Carr has tried to remain politically neutral, or at the very least, not say his personal opinions. And he goes more for the approach of he'll just roast everyone,
Right. Well,
and his stuff just seems to have held up better.
yeah, I think that it isn't a matter of telling people what you think. It's a matter of proclaiming it. Okay, there,
Yes.
are you using? It's the difference between if you get asked who are you voting for. Somebody says I'm voting for this person, and that's all the further they go. Or if they say
Hmm.
none of you or whatever, it doesn't matter. But if they say I'm voting for so and so, right, and they stop, no one's going to care.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
The moment they say, I'm voting for so and so, and here's why you all should, and here's all this, and then goes on a little tirade of activism, that's what does it. That's what
Yeah.
turns you into an activist. Especially if you then go the next six people, the next six times people see you in an interview, you're still, proclaiming the same kind of mentality.
Yeah.
Okay. Once you go down that road, and it doesn't matter if it's if you're doing it for what side? For example, if somebody sits there and says that they're a conservative, and I think that if they start preaching from the pulpit as if you got to sit there and come back to God and all these other things in the country, okay, you're going to lose massive entertainment support.
Yes.
Yeah.
The reason Mel Gibson's lost a lot of support for those reasons as well. But the main reason Mel Gibson hasn't lost a lot of that support is you don't see him making those kind of claims himself. What you see with Mel Gibson more than anything else is Hollywood saying he said this when somebody else. It's all hearsay stuff, right? It's not him getting in
Fair.
front of a camera preaching it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So it's not that people don't know that he's a conservative or especially a religious conservative, a hyper religious conservative, because he is. Okay.
I think it's a little bit past conservative at this point.
Well, there's a lot of things people have said about it, but it's all nobody's seen it. Okay, it's not being
Yeah.
proclaimed. He's not going in front of television screens proclaiming it to everybody constantly.
I hope it's true, just because that'll be so fucking funny.
Well, no,
Like,
let me just
especially
so
when
you know, all right. Then this is true. He goes to a church, a Catholic church, that refuses
Mm-hmm.
to abide by Vatican II. Okay, and Vatican II, and so all the mass is in Latin.
Nice.
Okay, I just want you to understand this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't have a problem with Mel Gibson or anyone who goes off and says, "Okay, here's my religion," per se, as long as it's not trying to damage society, and I don't think that's doing any social damage. Okay,
Yeah.
I really don't. So if you want to be a Hindu and say I want to, pray with, Ramaswamy, fine. If you go down the
Mm-hmm.
cult of the Moonies, different story. Then I'm gonna. Okay, you understand the difference? Are you harming society or not? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are you an activist or aren't you? Now, if Mel Gibson started going around telling, even if it was just within the church, like telling Catholics, "Hey, you guys need to go back to Latin," okay, you're an activist at that point. You're not an entertainer anymore.
Right.
So let's see
I
what's
agree.
next in the wonderful news. Should we use Chinese modernization? Do this story. Chinese modernization serves as model for Pakistan to promote economic development, says the Pakistani Prime Minister.
Oh joy.
Really? China's modernization serves as a model? Really? Islamabad.
oh,
The unique
speak,
Chinese modernization serves as a model for Pakistan to promote economic development, said Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. All right, extending congratulations on the 75th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. China has made remarkable achievements, and Pakistan desires to revamp its economy by emulating Chinese path to progress, which offers new opportunities for countries around the world, including Pakistan, Sharif said in an interview with the Chinese media.
Hmm.
Hey, dude, you realize? Just asking the question. Do you realize that your capital city, okay, is Islamabad? Okay, I'm just putting it out there. I would love to see how you plan to do the Chinese style of moderation. Okay, in your country without, I don't know, doing what China did, which is kill anybody who believes in a religion. Just putting it out there.
You say that now, Matt. All they really, and almost, I feel bad saying this in some ways, but technically, all they really need to do is change it from not believing in religion to believing in only one religion, i.e., inquisitorial style, literally house
Okay.
to house burning people.
Okay. Okay. If you did
Hmm.
that, how would China react?
That's the
Remember,
question.
Pakistan has gotten a lot of their bigger weapon systems, let's say, from China.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Weirdly, I actually think you may well be looking at it wrong. Have you considered the fact that Pakistan is trying to get in on the whole BRICS thing? But I'm going to remind you that the I in BRICS is India, and it's not like Pakistan and India have an issue at all. Much,
Though
only a little
I
bit, maybe.
realize that the Pakistan is trying to constantly try to play India off against
yes.
China and play off
But
Hmm.
play
didn't
each other off against
Indian
one another. But if you went the road, all right, especially with the Uyghur problem that the Chinese have, you went down that road,
Yeah,
China would cut them off. Just putting it out there.
yeah.
Okay.
Yorkie, you were saying, mate?
I just remembered. I'm pretty sure Pakistan and India almost started World War III back in it was just a little after the COVID lockdown started because
Yes.
India apparently had a quote unquote weapons malfunction and fired a missile into Pakistan.
Oops. Hmm.
Just one just little tiff. We just a tiff. We just a small little tiff.
Yeah.
Okay. Jensen, you had this story. If you don't mind sending it over here, because I'll let you handle it while I do something very quickly. But you had a story you want
Uh,
to do about your wonderful prime minister.
oh, yes. Yes, the stroke of genius. There won't be any pictures, just to let everyone know. I'm just going to save time and effort.
Oh no! If
Yeah,
you want to,
apparently.
if you have the story, I mean, I will put it up for.
No, I don't. I've
Okay.
only got a memory. You
Okay.
go do your thing, mate. It's cool.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah. Our illustrious idiot in charge thought it'd be a good idea to hand over a bunch, basically an atoll in the Indian Ocean that belongs to England to Mauritius, which is basically a couple of 100 miles away from it, that is close friends with the Chinese. And we're going to hand it over because apparently, it's the right thing to do. Now, the fact he's handed it over, there's actually not much we can really do about it, unfortunately. But he's also refusing to speak about whether or not he's willing to hand over the Falkland Islands or Gibraltar to the countries that want to claim ownership of them.
Hold up, dial that back.
You heard me. That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
As in,
sure Margaret Thatcher's gonna come back as
Okay,
a
I'll
fucking
return.
revenant.
I completely agree, and welcome back, sir. No, apparently, that Javier Millionaire, whatever his bloody name is, of
Argentina.
Argentina has actually said that he would like to get the Malvinas back, or Falkland Islands, if you want to use his real name, stupid bloody foreigners. So, yeah, and our Labour idiot in charge, when questioned by the media on this, refused to speak on it. And Labour itself is sitting there, no, we would never do that. We would never. And Keir Starmer refuses to actually say no. So all of those lads that went out there in 81, 82 that died or were hideously wounded were for nothing because of that person.
Do you think
Keir
he's
Starmer.
actually going to pull the trigger on that and actually give it back?
Yes. Yes, I do. And I'll tell you why. Because the island he gave back was called something like Chogus Islands or something similar. I'm sorry. I'm not. Honestly, I don't care about the name. You might take an interest in it because apparently there's a base there that America uses. So do we, but hell, officially we're supposed to have been owning the island. So, is what it is. But the problem is, you see, by him handing that back, England no longer has the comment of the sun never sets on the British Empire, because now that he's handed that back, there's a big old dark bit in the middle that is no longer part of the British Empire. So yeah, that is how scummy, and that's as polite as a way as I can, of how Keir Starmer is. I mean, handing back these places, and it's not that the people. This is the really good bit of this. Okay, if you go to the natives and say, "Do you still want to be part of Britain?" Yes. Do you want to be handed over to India? No. Well, tough.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, they did an election on the Falkland Islands, like I think like
Yeah.
15 years ago. Somewhere, and it was like 90% of them voted to remain as part of the British
Yep.
territory.
Yep. I know. I completely agree, and it won't shock me when it's time for that conversation to occur that he doesn't care what these people. Oh, and this is probably the part I should take note here, that we the people were never even told about this until he'd already handed it back. There was no referendum. There was no communication. There was literally, oh, by the way, we've given back the Chokers Islands. Live with it.
Although speaking of Keir Starmer being an absolute clown,
Oh, that's so polite, but yes.
yeah, actually, if anything, that's an insult to the clowns.
Mhm.
But yeah, you know the whole to make room for the thought criminals, they're releasing actual criminals.
Yeah.
They've released about 1,700, I think it was. I
Mhm.
don't have the article on hand, but I saw Count Dankula's video on it, and he was showing the article.
Mhm.
Yeah, the certain crimes were supposed to be blacklisted from it. You know, like if it involved
Yeah.
like sexual abuse or terrorism, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But because the government is just absolutely fucking incompetent and refuses to do anything smart, they
Mhm.
accidentally released 37 people that were in the blacklist zone. They managed to recollect 32 of them, but one of them had already sexually assaulted a woman.
Yeah.
But that means there's still 5 of them on the fucking loose.
Yeah.
Do you think
And
it? Do you truly think it was an accident though? And you said they
no,
accidentally released
because
them. I think it's intentional.
so do I. And it's because that there's absolutely nothing that the Commons can do about it because Labour has that many people that even if every single other person in the Commons vote no, Labour still win and get what they want. So literally, our air quotes ruling class has literally thrown up its hands and said, "Yeah, we give up 5 years' time."
Well, the other problem
Okay.
with your ruling class, quite frankly, and let's be perfectly blunt,
Mm-hmm.
the problem with your ruling class is that's also the same class that are government workers.
Oh, don't even get me started on the
There is the
government
biggest
because
there's the biggest problem that you guys have, and it's a problem.
yeah,
It's a growing problem in America. It's one of the problems that we're having.
yeah,
The people that are in the bureaucracy are also the ones, all right, who are running the show in the political arenas. They have the same general goal, personal power. And this is where corruption, when it seeps in, that's why it's so hard to root it out now. Because
yeah.
because they're one and the same. All right. And that's the biggest problem that you got. The vast majority of the people that are in government right now that you have in government, whether it's from the NHS, whether it's from the the sanitation department, or whether or not it's in the in the police department. All right,
Mm-hmm.
they're all leftists. You don't end up
Yes.
with the kind of people that you have, all right, in charge of Scotland Yard without them being leftists, and they're activist leftists. They're not. They don't see themselves as servants to the people.
No.
Okay, there's the biggest problem. Public service was
Yes.
supposed to be you're a public servant. I'm not here
It's
to
literally it's in
serve
the name.
you. And now it's the other way
Mhm.
around. No, 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 no. You're there to give us the money. You're there to sit up there and be you do what we say. This is the problem that we have in our country as well with too many of these stupid sons of bitches, especially that come from the damn teachers union.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Although it's not just Labour, like the Conservatives aren't actually conservative at all. Like if that political party was anywhere outside of like Western and Northern Europe and Canada, they'd be considered borderline socialist.
Borderline
Yes.
socialists?
He's,
I'd
oh,
call
he's
them
not wrong.
socialists, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think they
No,
are.
no, he's right completely. Then, Ahmad, the Conservative Party, in and of its original ideal, is dead.
Yeah.
What we've got is its corpse puppeting around, pretending to be Conservative Party.
So I'm sure you guys have heard of this. Cops, hurricane looters hit Trump merch store. As as Hurricane Helen battered a Florida city covered by a state of emergency declaration, two men allegedly burglarized a Trump store stocked with merchandise promoting the ex-president, according to cops who say one of the alleged looters was wearing a Trump cowboy hat when busted. On Friday evening, investigators patrolling a closed-off section of the Madeira Beach in the city of Tampa Madeira Beach in a city in the Tampa Bay area, discovered two men
Mhm.
loitering outside a closed business plaza where tenants included a retailer, a gift shop selling crystals and shark teeth, and the Trump store. The Trump outlet stocks a variety of Trump 2024 banners, stickers, fight, fight, fight T-shirts, and classic "Let's Go Brandon" and "F Your Feelings" products.
We need one of those over here.
When police approached the pair, they were in possession of merchandise that matched items sold in the Trump store, which was unsecured due to damages from the storm. One of the suspects, Lance Pestrovic, 57, was wearing a Trump cowboy hat that he claimed ended up in his possession after it washed up from the hurricane.
Yeah.
Floating Trump hats. Impressive. You
You
gotta.
know,
You,
of all the things that I expected rioters to start stealing, I didn't expect it to be Trump T-shirts.
okay. All right. There is no way of knowing how this election that's coming up is going to how it's going to end up. There really isn't.
Okay.
And the reason for that is I don't know who to believe.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't. Okay. You can't believe the press. You can't believe
No.
the government. You can't believe
Mm.
the media. You can't believe Trump supporters. Okay,
Yeah.
and I don't mean that in
Mm.
a negative sense, in the same sense that, of the others that I just
Yeah,
said. Okay,
everyone has a bias.
well,
Mhm.
it's what information is actually being let to us that isn't being coded, right?
Yeah.
I want raw numbers on things. I don't want flavoring or anything else. I want to see the raw kind of data and so forth. But you can't ever get any of that. All right. The
No.
meat and the other thing is I personally think that Trump would easily win if the press had any intention, all right, of being somewhat objective. They don't. Okay. They are far and away. They've put their fingers on the scale so much now that they can't come back to objectivity. It's impossible for them.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know what to believe. All right.
Mhm.
It's not that when you talk about the major outlets, all the mainstream media outlets, none of them are believable. And the
No.
reason for it is because regardless of how it turns out, they've spewed so much garbage. Okay, now it may be that Kamala Harris runs away with this.
Yeah.
Seriously, all right. Do I believe that? No. Do I believe that she would be running away with it if we had an honest press? Not no, but hell no. Okay. The fact that they're
Mhm.
lying, and they themselves now have gotten into the point of lying about the fact, oh, she was never the border czar. She was never in charge of the border. Really?
Yeah.
That. What do you mean? So you're saying Biden lied when he said I'm putting her in charge of the border crisis? When I'm making
He
her,
never said
and
that.
his word, border czar, I'm making her the border czar. He did say that.
Y- Look, are you going to go around and listen to the things that they tell you, or are you going to listen to the things that they tell you? They're now telling you not to listen to those things in the past. That's obviously a complete lie. In fact, yeah, it's a Republican false truth. They obviously did it with AI. Yeah, you know full well that that is the sort of hack they're
Right.
saying, mate.
Now let's be honest, right? Heels is a survivor. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And but she's not intelligent.
No,
Okay? She's a survivor. She's not natively
just
intelligent, and she has her political skills suck. literally and figuratively.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Just so so as you know, he means heals up Harris. It's a nickname. Okay, mate.
Okay. The her, the fact that she's trying to go to North Carolina now after Trump already did, all right, shows
Yeah.
shows her lack of awareness, her lack of political chops.
Yes.
All right, especially considering what they did to George Bush over Katrina.
Yeah.
She was involved in that. She was involved in doing that. Okay? Because she was a senator at the time, or soon to be senator.
Yeah.
All right? She's very well aware of how the Democrat apparatus works in that regard. And I'm pointing this out from strictly playing politics. I'm not talking about policy or being a leftist or anything like that. Political skills like this, right? When you have somebody that has the ability to go, see the opportunity, take the opportunity, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't have that. She doesn't have any of that. Biden has more of that even now, all right? Even though he's like, where's my tapioca? Oh, ice cream.
Yeah.
Okay. His political skills are still above hers. All right?
That is not a compliment.
It's not a compliment, but it's true. Right? She has no native political skills. And look, people that don't have native political skills normally hire somebody on their staff that does.
True.
Okay? She doesn't. There's nobody in her staff that even freaking. Once the hurricane hit, the first thing she should have been is down in Florida. Down in Florida and down in the Carolinas, all right, promoting this because this was her opportunity to go into the deep red state and say, I'm here for you. I'm Bubba Clinton. Look at me, I'm one of you. Right?
Yeah. Hey Oz. Good to see you, mate.
But she didn't have the political skills to go in there and say, okay, well, here's the opportunity for it. Where'd she go? Michigan. Right, with her butt buddy Walls to get booed by the unions.
That was glorious.
She has no political. It's unbelievable. Right? I mean, and then of course, Biden just he might as well be trying. He's there with her campaign with a chainsaw trying to. I'm going to bring this tree down. He's not supporting her in any way. He's doing things to harm her every chance as it gets. We just had we just had a quick strike for the longshoremen. I think you all heard about this, right?
Yes.
And I was going, do it, because I know the damage it was going to do to the economy. Do it, dumbasses. Go ahead, rip the economy more, you freaking leftist socialist sons of bitches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right before the election, you see how that'll turn out, right? I don't want people to be harmed, but I know who these people are. They don't give a flying shit about anybody but themselves. Okay? Then I heard something that absolutely shocked me. Right? Was as they were getting ready to go on their strike.
Yeah.
They were demanding support, of course, from the other big labor unions in the country.
Yeah.
The biggest labor union in this country outside of the federal government labor unions, like the teachers unions, right? Is the AFL-CIO.
Okay, you know I'm going to ask, so go on.
And the AFL-CIO, one of their biggest components are the truckers.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh boy. Mm-hmm.
They are also another big component of theirs is the United Auto Workers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just so you understand this, they sit up there and said, "We're not supporting you." The guy in charge of that union said, "We don't support this strike."
Oh dear.
Now this was shocking because they've never said that to another union in their entire lives, as far as I know, ever. Okay, they said we will not support your strike. Okay,
Damn.
and the guy in charge of the longshoremen said we don't need you.
Go.
I disagree. Right? Well,
Oh yeah.
I really disagree that you don't need them. Okay. Now,
Mm-hmm.
why that president did that, I'm not going to speculate. I have my own ideas, but I'm not going to speculate at this point in time. But the fact that the
Okay.
AFL-CIO did that shocked me. Okay. And
Yeah.
this comes on the heels of him admitting to the people. He said, "Look, we polled our members. 2/3 of them said because the AFL-CIO also came out and said we're not promoting anyone in this election."
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is the first time I've seen them ever do that as well. And the reason when he was asked about it by the talking heads in the media, he flat out he said we polled our union membership. 2/3 of them said vote for Trump. All right, they want to vote for
Yeah.
Trump. Okay, so you basically have an uprising that they have to keep control of, right?
Yeah.
So the longshoreman strike lasted less than a week. Okay,
Ah.
they
Mm-hmm.
they made their deals as soon. Now I realize that I've been going on about this for a long time, but the reason for it is when that happened, Kamala tried to claim, of course, she was going to claim that she was the one who did it, right? That she ended the strike before it harmed the country. But Biden undercut her and did it first, right right before she came out. It was like and claimed it was all him, and that she was. When they asked him, you don't know she wasn't even there. And they were like, "Well,
Oh.
my God, what the hell, right?" They basically just undercut
Ah.
her completely, right? And this is what I'm
Oh,
talking
okay.
about.
Right.
The political
Uh,
landscape in here is absolute chaos right now. All right, with the
yeah.
Democrats
Oh,
eating their own, and that's why I say I don't know who's going to win the election. I have no freaking clue, right?
that's fair.
Because
So,
there's too much chaos going on around, and the chaos includes the Republicans too. Don't get me wrong. The Republicans are in
Mhm.
chaos as well. All right, and Trump.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Trump has no intention of tamping it down anymore. Right?
Mm.
Tr-
Hold
Like
up. Hold up. Hold it. Hold it. Auntie. Hold up. You starting to say something, Yorkie?
yeah, I've heard of something kind of similar happening over here, but it's not union related. But the reason why the Scottish Nationalist Party got absolutely bent over during this election was because the reason why they were so successful for a while is because they had like a coalition with the Green Party, and
Yes.
when the new leader, the Scottish, when the SNP took over, Humza Yousaf,
Mm-hmm.
this Muslim who's complaining that there's too many white people in power in Scotland, even though
Yes.
Scotland is 96% white. Uh, Basically, he just went back on honouring the agreements they had with the Green Party. So just before the election, the Green Party had enough of his shit and just pulled out all the support. So with this election, they went from having 50 seats to about 16.
Nice. Nice.
I don't know
Mm.
if that's similar to the U.S. or not, because I think that's the way you guys do things is completely different than the way we do things when we're talking about leadership. But
Yes.
but I've never seen this kind of chaos. All right, prior to a presidential election. All right,
Mm-hmm.
um, especially now. Part of it, I think, part of it's happening because there's and the media, of course, is not talking about this, but there's a fight taking place, a massive fight taking place. All right, for the soul of the Democrat Party,
Yes.
and the reality is the Democrat Party has never been anything more than like-minded individuals. All right, as far as of being being a leftist in general, but it's always
Mm-hmm.
been a lot of different leftist agendas, right, all coming together and basically waiting their turn to help destroy the country. Okay,
Yeah.
this is how I view them. The problem now
Mm-hmm.
is that the old guard, which basically controlled all that, okay, they're gone. They're losing. They've lost too much power. Okay, and so there's no controls anymore. The days
Yeah.
of them walking in lockstep with one another, all right, look to be over. And when I talk about the left as in lockstep, I'm serious because, and mainly because of the political skills of people like Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, I don't like Nancy Pelosi. I think she's a heinous person. I really think that she's more of a threat to democracy than most people in the world. Okay, she's
Mm-hmm.
dangerous, right? But I
Yeah.
cannot argue that the political chops on that woman are freaking phenomenal. As a politician, she is one of the most phenomenal politicians this country has ever created. As a pure
Does
politician,
it
all right.
does it hurt you having to say that?
Uh,
It
not
sounds like it
it.
feels
It doesn't
it
really
should.
hurt per se. I just wish it didn't exist. Right?
Mm,
I mean,
that's fair.
I mean, I'm not a person who dwells on. I dwell on what is, right? I mean, I don't like
Yeah.
try and invent the fact of what isn't, right? Or what should be. If only if, right? I'm not
Mhm.
into the only if. Her political
Yeah.
skills, frankly, I was amazed at her ability to basically force the Democrats never, all right, to fracture,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and that she was successful
Mm-hmm.
at it. But in the
Yeah.
process of doing that, she's given rise to this newer group of leftists, right, that absolutely hate the country, okay, and they are out of control. And the Democrats that don't hate the country, that are just true believers, are looking at these lunatics, going, "My God, we've got to do something about these people." Well, eventually you're going to you're going to have the come to Jesus moment where you say, "Okay, I've got more in common with the other side than I do with you." Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but at the moment they're still more or less hanging together. But see, Comrade Jeffries, who's in charge of the Democrat Party in the House, right, isn't he does not have the political chops of Nancy Pelosi. And Nancy Pelosi, the problem with Nancy is there's a realization that Nancy has of she just doesn't she's too old. She doesn't have it
Yeah.
anymore. All right. Jeffries, however, doesn't have the political skills of her. All right. And when it comes to okay, it comes down to, well, who's going to lead the party? Who's going to lead the Democrat
Mm-hmm.
Party? Well, you either end up in the Clinton wing, which was the former rulers, right, or you end up in the Obama wing. Okay,
Yeah.
but the Obama wing is out of control. Okay, Obama himself is a hardcore leftist, but power is the most important thing. He was always willing to sacrifice any supposed principle he has, all right, to achieving power, right, achieving
Yeah.
and maintaining that power. Okay, his proteges, the ones that are under him, they only follow him because he was truly a cult of personality, right?
Yes.
They are followers of Obama because they're followers of the man, not because they're followers of his positions. Okay?
Yeah.
But that cult of personality is it's when in the way our government is structured is limited in his ability to continue with what he's been doing. Okay? He is trying to maintain control of the party and keep it coalescent against each other, but there's too many fractures at the seams right now.
Yeah.
Now, what has been their one common refrain? MAGA is dangerous to the country, right? They've all been on
Yeah.
message when it comes to that. MAGA is a threat to the country. The problem
Mhm.
you have is that if you pick somebody who doesn't have any kind of political skills, okay, like Harris,
Mhm.
how do you defeat him? Because, like it or not, Trump's got a personality.
Yes.
Okay, you can't allow Trump to be seen on the news because Trump's personality comes through. Comes out as, let's be honest, every time she speaks and comes out there, no one believes what she's saying because she's not authentic, right? She doesn't have the
Agreed.
political skills to make it look like she is. So
God, I
there's,
just remembered an old. I just remembered an old clip of Donald Trump when they were doing like the initial debates back in like 2014 or 15 or something, and he had to debate against Jeb Bush, and he absolutely bullied the fucker.
yeah, well, Jeb Bush was one who had gone in there thinking he was a bully, right? He ended up getting freaking blown out. All right, Harris has a
Mhm.
personality too. Look, a streetwalker personality is not going to win the election. Okay,
Pretty much what James just said.
right? I mean, that's
Mhm.
I mean, it's just putting it out. Okay, she does so, and the fact that she personally has been working behind the scenes, all right, to try and take control. Okay,
Mhm.
and the media is doing its best to avoid making her look bad and asking real questions. Okay, and it was painfully obvious just how bad it was during the vice presidential debate. Tim
Mhm.
Walz walked in there thinking, "I'm the cock of the walk." He literally did. He walked in there thinking, "I'm the cock of the walk. I can easily handle this." People go like, "Oh no, he was nervous. He was this." No, he wasn't.
Mhm.
He walked in there before and acting like he was. He didn't look nervous on there, right? Until he started
Yeah.
getting until he started getting slapped around and realized, oh my God, I don't have answers for anything. Right? That's when he started to look nervous. Oh, he was nervous at the
Yeah.
very beginning of that debate. No, he wasn't. At the very beginning of the debate, he was looking all confident and ready to go. I can easily get this, especially after he got his first real question, right? His first question, which was a softball, hit it out of the park, right? Where all he did was give you, the Daniel Pablum of this is what I wish. Here we're doing wish fulfillment time. And then he got called on. Okay, you're in wish fulfillment time, but what does that actually mean? Uh, 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 uh.
Mhm.
And the media wasn't helping him enough. Tried. The media tried. Okay,
Mhm.
but they didn't help him enough. That's when he started looking nervous because he was looking like the buffoon that he actually is. And then he got asked about. Okay, you claim that you were in Hong Kong in China during Tiananmen Square. We have the records. You
Yeah.
weren't. Well, I misspoke. No, you didn't. You lied.
How the fuck do you misspeak that hard?
Right? You you. It's different when you're trying to claim solidarity because with the movement, the Tiananmen Square movement. Okay, versus my wall is 10 foot taller than yours, and somebody measures it and says it's only 5 foot taller. Okay, that's the difference between Trump, all right, and this clown.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying Trump is the height of honesty. He's not. But his
But
thing, his lies are all the bombastic "look at me" kind of lies, not the lies of "look, I'm one of you" kind of lies. Does that make sense?
oh, dude. Okay. You can say what you like about Trump, but at least he's not doing the false valor thing. Okay. And yeah. To be completely honest, Trump could murder kittens on TV. In comparison to Waltz, he is a hero, and you know it.
All right,
It's,
Yorkie. Now you're a
guess
moderator. Now you'll be blue.
That's going to be
no.
no. Are you really sure that's a good idea, Nomad? Yorkie and Shirati have history, which is a nice way I can put that.
I don't care. It is what it is. Let's get on to. We've only got just a few stories left. We'll get to
Okay.
this part of the story. Part of the thing.
Uh-oh.
Do you think that you making somebody a moderator is going to stop me from talking at all?
No.
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 There is not a single point that was.
And once
considered.
again, I reiterate, I don't care.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. And in Sherardi's neck of the woods, alligator found hiding under a parked car in Detroit suburb.
She may kill you for that, suggesting she has anything to do with Detroit.
Well, I think they. Could you say that Sherardi was found hiding underneath?
Ooh, ow. No, I'm sorry. Did you say it was a cyber crocodile? No.
Police were called to the home in a Detroit suburb to remove a 4-foot alligator found lurking underneath the resident's car. Marisol Masu Akari, all right, said she was preparing to leave for work, all right, when the neighbors alerted her to the events unfolding in her Sterling Heights driveway. And everybody's like, all right, okay. I always thought that, oh, it's like this, and oh, it's like that, and like this, and oh, girl, it's like, that Valley Girl like thing. Enough!
Yeah.
Enough of you people, right? Stop talking that way. Anyway. Right? Everybody's like, there's an alligator under your car. And I'm like, oh, are you serious? And then I look, and here we go. He's laying down under my car. She told WXYZ News, all right, or television. Sterling Heights Police Department arrived on the scene, summoned the assistance of the Reptarian, a zoo in Utica. The zookeepers captured the alligator and transported it to their facility for care. Police said they believed the alligator was an illegal pet that either escaped or was set loose by the owner. Sterling Heights Police Department would like to remind the public that, that as it may seem to be cool to own an exotic animal such as an alligator, it is very dangerous. Furthermore, it's against city ordinance to possess one. Look, I'm just saying, with global warming, maybe they're just coming north. You ever consider that they're expanding their range? Just putting it out there.
It's a Florida invasion, mate. Okay.
I'm just saying. No, good freeze will kill them off, but it's. I mean, a good hard freeze, like they get in Michigan, but just.
In all fairness, if you think about it, it's not really surprised it's buggered off up north. I mean, let's be honest. It's not like Florida has had any hurricanes in there recently. Although that's right, maybe they have.
Actually, wait, no, something else. I reckon they're just playing the refugee card. They're just trying to escape the Haitians.
They're eating damn crocs. Yeah.
Even the crocs are trying to leave Florida nowadays. Okay. Next story. A pair of California homeowners were watching in a horror movie when the sound underneath their floor alerted them to a dangerous presence under their own crawl space. A bear. Okay, so would you like to have an alligator under your car or a bear under your house?
Wow. Okay.
Mark Cho and Mark Lanza said they were watching a horror movie at their Monrovia home when a sudden sound under the floor gave them a start.
Yeah.
We were like, shut up! Shut up! God. We were like, okay, there's something under there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't! We kind of
How did they notice it?
We kind of tiptoed towards it a little bit, and then I could hear a little more scratching, and we ran back inside the house.
I wonder
Wait a
why.
minute, you're hearing scratching in the house, and you ran back in? Were you taking lessons from the horror movie you were watching, you freaking idiots? All right, I'm just asking a question.
In all fairness,
Oh my
okay,
God, what
if
a
they were
bunch of
anywhere
morons.
but California, they may have been going in for guns. That's not unreasonable. It's California. They were running in to probably get their
They were running in to set up a camera. Oh,
Yeah.
look at this.
4-foot rubber dildo. Go on.
The guy's just standing like at the entrance to his basement, just does
Not
the
you
typical
two.
horror movie thing. Hey, you guys are gonna want to see this.
You and Yorkie's been infected with the like. Anyway, Ben set up a camera outside their home and later learned the sound was a bear clawing at the crawl space, opening to climb out through a small hole. He was big. He could barely fit through the crawl space door. He kind of pawed his way out. It's getting. It is now October. It's September, October timeframe. Bears prepare a hibernation space, bozos. Okay, it was getting ready to hibernate under your house.
Yeah.
The men live only 5 miles from Sierra Madre, where Bob and Susan Nestor recently discovered a bear squatting in their own crawl space. No shit! Do you think maybe this is not a good thing to have in these areas? Maybe you need to go back to home building 101. Just putting it out there. Building a home with a crawl space in the woods of the Sierra Nevadas is not a good plan. All right? Because unless you're intending to trap bears. Okay?
But let's be honest, dude. That's why Sam Colt created the gun. Okay, it's his good way of stopping bears.
All right.
Suddenly.
I'm just putting it out there that inviting bears into your home, you might as well be laying out freaking potato chips in front of it to see what happens. Okay?
They watch too much Yogi Bear. That's the problem.
I remember seeing one video of like a bear, like the door was open, the bear went in by like 1 or 2 feet, looked around, almost looked like it had the face of disgust, and then just like backed up, grabbed the door handle with its teeth, and just closed the door behind it.
Nice. I am totally okay with that.
I'm just saying.
I've seen the one. Have you seen the one where the bear is walking around one side of the house, the owner's walking around the other? They see each other,
Yeah.
both scream, both flee. That is
Yeah.
brilliant.
I'm just okay. I don't know if I should say this. My brother was just recently. My older brother was out recently camping, and he just relayed a story to me this week of how him and his buddy were walking and doing a hike, and they encountered a bear. And they stopped and tried to, shoo the bear away. And the bears just looked at them like, you might be a decent meal. Until these two. This is why he wasn't attacked. Until these two high school girls that were on a running, they were doing cross country running for the school, they ran up behind the bear, and the bear took off running, scared for its life. And it was like, you know what that does to your manhood when two big guys can't scare the bear, but the freaking bears run screaming away from two freaking female high school joggers? What the hell is that? True story. I was laughing. It perfectly fits with the storyline today.
Yeah, I could go into one of two extremes. Either he's gonna take it as a sign he needs to change, and then just becomes just an absolute brick shithouse, or he just reaches for the noose. There's no other option.
Final story of the day. Trapped moose rescued from backyard pool in New Hampshire. Okay? and you see Mr. Moose there. He looks kind of disheveled and a little bit wet, right? You notice
He
how
looks clean.
you notice how the horn is very small.
Yes.
Think of what that thing is going to be in just a couple months, where it broadens the way out.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, because that's what they do. Firefighters
Oh
and
yeah.
police in New Hampshire were called out to a home of a resident who found a moose trapped in their swimming pool. Now, the first time I read the story, I
Mhm.
was like, how the hell did the moose? Because the moose doesn't look too trapped here. Just pointing out, it doesn't look like the moose is too worried about getting out of the pool here, right? But there's a
No.
reason for it.
Yeah. Also, it's moose are one of the few animals that can actually stand up to a grizzly bear. It goes where it fucking pleases.
It can, but then again, standing up to a grizzly bear is still a chancy proposition. Granted, they're large and they can hold themselves, but if a grizzly bear says, "You know what? Screw you. It's a fight." It'll be a fight. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Cough,
like
cough,
the grizzly
Wolverine.
bear.
Cough, cough.
Yeah, like the grizzly bear would win, but it's
Eventually,
actually gonna have to work for it.
yes, they
Mhm.
would make them work for it. So first responders arrived to find an adult moose in a swimming pool under the pool cover. Now I understood why
Yeah.
the moose is trapped, because it got itself under this, which makes you wonder. Okay, what was it doing going under the cover?
No, it was hiding from the alligator. That was the problem.
I don't know if you know this or not, but New Hampshire and Michigan aren't really close to one another.
Do you see how terrifying the alligator was?
Well, it was interesting. But the first responders to arrive to find the moose under the pool cover, removed the cover to enable the moose to get out of the pool. All right. The moose then walked out of the pool on its own and left the area. No further action was taken. Okay, moose. I'm okay. I'll go. Right. He
Mhm.
then said the resident did the right thing by not trying to help the moose without assistance. I want to remind residents that moose can be very dangerous animals due to their size, and we appreciate that the resident called us this morning to assist with the situation. We're pleased that no people or animals were harmed by the incident, because lifting a pool cover, something that they put on every year and take off every year, was beyond them. Nothing against
Yes.
anybody, but I think I would have gone in there and go, oh shit, let me get the pool cover off. I don't think I'd have been calling up the police. I don't know what to do. It's a moose. All right. Now, I also would have been out there when I took the pool cover off. All right. Having the 30-06 next to me.
Yes.
Okay.
You got
Just
Yeah,
just in case. All right. The moose
Oh,
decided to
right.
be
I'm
frisky.
gonna say they're like 7.5 foot tall and like half a ton.
Well, it's not.
Yeah, good
It's not.
eating.
It's not. It's not moose season. Okay. There is a moose season. You can't shoot moose out of season, even when they're on your property. Okay.
Okay. All right. No, I'll accept that. I'll take the axe with me then. I didn't shoot it.
I swear you have a fucking death wish, Jensen.
Yes, but that's neither here nor there.
I'll tell you right now, Jensen isn't stupid enough to go, look, I'll have a hatchet going after Mr. Moose. Okay, he may hit Mr. Moose when Mr. Moose is not expecting it, but he's not. He may hunt Mr. Moose, but he's not going to look at Mr. Moose while Mr. Moose is looking at him, going, "You're a road patty, regardless of whether you got that axe on."
This is why I would give the axe to someone else and get them to do it.
Well, see, this is the whole point. It's Moose
Yes.
understand that humans have boomsticks and pointy things, right?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean you go looking for trouble with Mr. Moose, because Mr. Moose is more than willing to bring trouble to you. All right, if that's what you want, okay. But
Yeah.
the moose, for the most part, understands. Okay, well, there's a season. That's when I really got to look out for these creatures. Otherwise, I'll just chew on their gardenias. The hell with your flower bed. It's now a snack for them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I mean,
Yep.
that's just the way moose are. All right. Not gonna argue. And
Fair.
B thinks that was stupid. she thinks that was stupid because she knows that she wouldn't be the one being given the axe. He'd be like, "Yeah, somebody else take that." No, not you.
Yeah, no, I would not give her the axe because one, she hit me, and two, she doesn't need an axe. Let's be fair, she
Well,
could scare a moose into a fit.
She'd probably use you as a meat shield.
well, she might.
What do you mean, probably?
She might get along with the moose and ride it around to terrorize the neighborhood. You never know.
Can I remind you about the harpoon gun? Just saying, okay? That wasn't a joke.
I'll just put it out there. Okay. It's nice to have you, B. Really, it is. So, but that was the last story of the day. I don't have any other stories. All right, for us for this week. So we'll have to wait for it next week. Hope that you all had a good time, and I'll talk to you all later. Thanks for coming on, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
But